Chapter 1948. Before everyone could recover from the shock of the spirit crystals, they realized something even more shocking. That rogue cultivator was breaking through in the defensive array? Is he crazy? He's still in the mood to break through at this time. He's definitely the most arrogant rogue cultivator I've ever seen. He doesn't put a 7-star sect in his eyes at all. This isn't arrogance, this is a hole in his brain. Let's see how long he can keep acting for. Once the defensive array breaks, it'll be his death. There were all sorts of discussions. Some people were impressed by Qin Feng's calm demeanor, while others thought he was just acting. No matter what, Qin Feng didn't care at all. Right now the most important thing for him was to break through. Otherwise he would have to hide in the star world. Qin Feng couldn't help but think of the system's emergency notification when the elder from Tiantong City had appeared. That elder most likely had a system, and the system's level was even higher than Qin Feng's. If he ended up hiding in the astral world, the Hedonist sovereign system would most likely be completely exposed to the elder. As expected, a rogue cultivator who doesn't know his place. He's still playing tricks before his death. Everyone, follow me to break the array. Qin Feng's actions completely infuriated Xia Yingjun. He actually broke through in front of Xia Yingjun. This was a complete slap to his face. Seeing the tens of Nihility God Realm cultivators about to join forces to attack the array, Qin Feng panicked. However, at this moment, tens of black figures flew over and landed on a mountain peak not far away. Xia Yingjun, as a genius disciple of a 7-star sect, you're actually joining forces to bully a junior. This is really damaging to your reputation. A man in his 40s walked out from the crowd. His true yuan was dense and ferocious. He had actually stepped into Nihility God Realm level 6. Seeing this person, Xia Yingjun frowned and ferocious true yuan surged from his body. He yelled, "By Qiming, I advise you to mind your own business. Don't think that I'm afraid of you just because you're a rogue cultivator genius. How can you rogue cultivators be mentioned in the same breath as us sect disciples? The geniuses among you are not even worth mentioning in front of the South Plateau State's genius disciples." When Bai Qiming's identity was revealed, the various mountain peaks were in an uproar. Although the number of rogue cultivators in this year's genius assembly was less than the number of sect disciples, it was only in comparison to the number of sect disciples. In reality, there were more than 2,000 rogue cultivators participating in the genius assembly, and at least 700 to 800 rogue cultivators had come to watch. As long as one was an itinerant cultivator of the South Flat Continent, everyone would know of Bai Qiming. He was known as the #1 itinerant cultivator of the younger generation in the South Flat Continent. Back then, he was only 35 years old and had already stepped into the Nihility God Realm. Now that he was in his early 40s, he was already at Nihility God Realm level 6. There were more than 20 people standing behind Bai Qiming, and all of them were empty God Realm cultivators. This formation was evenly matched with the team led by Xia Yingjun. At that moment, neither of them dared to act rashly, and the battle was in a stalemate. Qin Feng looked at Bai Qiming gratefully. No matter what this person's motive was, he had helped him gain more time to break through. Xia Yingjun's face was so cold that it was about to freeze when he saw more and more spiritual energy whirlpools gather on Qin Feng's mountain. Bai Qiming, are you trying to rebel with the rogue cultivators in the Maze Valley Mystic Realm? I understand now. That kid is your friend, right? Everything he did before was because of your orders. Xia Yingjun's words stirred up the hatred of the sect disciples. Killing intent surged from the sect disciples, standing on the various mountains, as they glared at the rogue cultivators around them. As sect disciples of the South Flat Continent, these people naturally felt that they were superior to others, and they looked down on rogue cultivators. Who would have thought that this bunch of lowly people would dare to rebel at the genius assembly? They must be tired of living. Bai Qiming didn't care about such petty tricks at all, and he couldn't even be bothered to explain. Xia Yingjun, you don't need to sow discord. Today, I'm going to protect that young hero. If you're unhappy, we'll fight. Bai Qiming gave Xia Yingjun a headache. This guy was famous for his stubbornness in the South Flat Continent, and once he set his mind on something, no one could change it. The most infuriating thing was that this guy was so strong that even Xia Yingjun didn't have the confidence to defeat him. Disciples from the various great sects, what are you spacing out for? Loose cultivators want to ride on our heads and piss on our disciples. Are you just going to stand by and watch? Xia Yingjun began roping in even more forces. This was originally just a conflict between Qin Feng and the 4 genius disciples of the 7-star sects. But now it had turned into a conflict between rogue cultivators and the sections. Instantly, over 100 figures flew to the group behind Xia Yingjun. There was a black mass of people floating in the air, and the lowest cultivation was at the late stage of the true spirit realm. Bai Qiming didn't even need to say anything, and there were already many rogue cultivators rushing to the mountain to help. As the South Flat Continent's rogue cultivators, they were usually bullied by their sections. Now that someone was leading the rebellion, the suppressed anger in their hearts burned. The number of people on both sides continued to increase. Seeing that the number of venerables on each side had exceeded 100 people, 2 powerful auras surged up from the void and the mountain. Just these 2 powerful auras caused the hearts of the crowd to surge. Bai, are you for real? Xia Yingjun's face turned black from anger. Why didn't he notice that the South Flat Continent's rogue cultivators had such backbone? Bai Qiming didn't back down. He stood in front of the rogue cultivator experts, and his eyes were cold. I'll say it again. I'll protect that young hero today. If you want to fight, then hurry up. I, Bai Qiming, have never been afraid of anyone. Arrogant and ignorant, as expected of a rogue cultivator. No wonder no sect is willing to accept you despite your talent. With your arrogant personality, you'll die in the wilderness sooner or later. Xia Yingjun kept scolding, but he didn't attack. The formation of this battle had exceeded his expectations. He thought that after the sect disciples gathered, just their aura alone would be able to scare off the motley crew. Unexpectedly, they didn't retreat at all, and he could see the desire to fight in their eyes. I don't want to join a sect, because I don't want to. What has it got to do with you? Don't always think that sect disciples are better than others. In my eyes, you guys are just SOSO. If I want to, I can kill any sect disciple here if I want to. Bai Qiming's words were extremely arrogant, comparable to Qin Feng's. However, none of the sect disciples dared to refute him, who asked him to be at Nihility Spirit Realm Level 6. If Bai Qiming really exploded, he might even kill Xia Yingjun, much less them. What do the two of you think? Xia Yingjun couldn't make up his mind. He wasn't really afraid of Bai Qiming. Although there wasn't much difference in the number of Nihility Spirit Realm cultivators on both sides, Xia Yingjun still had Gu Yu and Gu He in the advanced stage of Nihility Spirit Realm. If they really fought, Bai Qiming's side would definitely lose. However, this battle involved too many sections. Moreover, the participants were all genius disciples of the various sections. If there were any casualties, Xia Yingjun wouldn't be able to answer to the other sections. Gu Yu and Gu He's expressions were equally solemn. Obviously, they were also worried about casualties. However, if they backed off now, wouldn't they be lowering their heads to the Nihility Spirit Realm cultivators? This definitely couldn't happen in South Pingzhou. Since those Nihility Spirit Realm cultivators are courting death, we'll just destroy them. Gu He's tone was cold, and her heart was vicious. Gu Yu frowned and said, Dao friends, everyone can see the current situation. A group of Nihility Spirit Realm cultivators dared to find trouble with our sections. Junior sister Gu He, senior brother Gu Yu and I intend to join forces to fight against them. Everyone is willing to join the battle. We can't be responsible for any casualties. Gu Yu directly cut off his worries. Xia Yingjun looked at him with admiration. The Nihility Spirit Realm cultivators that joined were more or less shaken. However, after some consideration, no one left the team. Even if they didn't fight with the Nihility Spirit Realm cultivators now, they would still have to fight one-on-one after leaving the Maze Valley secret domain. Everyone could see clearly that with Xia Yingjun and the other 2 seniors leading the team, their chances of winning would definitely be higher than outside. If they could eliminate all the Nihility Spirit Realm cultivators in the Maze Valley secret domain, everyone's ranking would also increase. Not only did no one quit, more and more Nihility Spirit Realm cultivators joined in. The sky was densely packed like a huge black cloud. Many Nihility spirit realm cultivators also came to the mountain where Bai Qiming was standing. Looking down from the sky, it looked like a huge coiling dragon. When the forces were almost gathered, Xia Yingjun glanced at Gu Yu and Gu He. Seeing the two nod at him, he raised his blade and rushed towards the mountain. A huge battle was about to break out. However, a shout came from the mountain peak. "Thank you, Senior Bai, for your help. However, those 3 Nihility spirit realm cultivators aren't a threat to me. Everyone, there's no need to fight. Let me eliminate them alone." When this voice rang out, the cultivators on both sides that were about to make their moves were all stunned. Several thousand pairs of eyes looked at the mountain peak Qin Feng was sitting on. The spiritual energy whirlpool in the sky had already condensed into a cloud shape. This was the sign of a breakthrough. "Bai Qiming, that fellow doesn't need your help. Don't think too highly of yourself. How about we come to an agreement? I'll fight that brat alone and resolve our personal grudges." The reason why Xia Yingjun suddenly changed his mind was because he knew that Qin Feng was about to break through. As a late-stage true spirit cultivator, breaking through would cause a tribulation. Many cultivators couldn't pass their tribulation and were stopped on the path of cultivation. This was the best time to make a move against Qin Feng. How could Bai Qiming not see through his thoughts? He immediately shouted with a serious face, "You large sect cultivators really are sinister. That young hero is about to break through, and you're hitting him while he's down. Do you still have the demeanor of a senior? Don't talk nonsense here. I've already taken a step back. If you still insist on going about things the wrong way, then let's fight. But you'd better be clear about the facts. With just the people behind you, you'll only end up being completely annihilated. You can disregard your own life and death, but don't drag others down with you. If we really compare, then you're the selfish villain. What qualifications do you have to talk to me about the demeanor of an expert?" Xia Yingjun loudly cursed. Chapter 1949. "Xia Yingjun, do you have to pretend to be noble? Fine. You fight me one-on-one. The others won't participate in this battle." Bai Qiming said indifferently. Xia Yingjun's face was ashen. He didn't want to fight Bai Qiming one-on-one. No matter who won or lost, the other experts would benefit. Seeing that the two sides were in a deadlock again, Qin Feng's voice came from the mountaintop again. "Senior Bai, do as I say. Let Xia Yingjun and the other 2 ants fight me. The others can just watch." His words caused the crowd to discuss heatedly. Xia Yingjun and the other 2 were genius disciples from 7-star sections. The weakest among them was Nihility God Realm Level 6. No one knew where Qin Feng got the confidence to say such arrogant words. The disciples gathered in the sky looked at Qin Feng with disdain. The rogue cultivators shook their heads and sighed. Bai Qiming and them had come this far, but they helped a pig teammate. At this moment, even Bai Qiming couldn't understand Qin Feng's thoughts. From how he killed Lin Rui, Qin Feng wasn't an arrogant person. But why did he dare to fight 1 against 3? What was his trump card? Xia Yingjun laughed. "Haha. Surnamed Bai, I already said you were meddling. He is very strong. Why would he need the help of you ants? Isn't this a slap to his face?" Bai Qiming's face was cold, and he didn't say anything. He was complaining about Qin Feng in his heart. A loud sound suddenly exploded on the mountaintop Qin Feng was sitting on. Xia Yingjun used up his patience and slashed down with his saber. The huge Zhen Yuan saber landed on the top of the mountain and was deflected by a light wall. Xia Yingjun didn't stop and slashed down a few more times. At the same time, he shouted to the 2 people beside him, "Let's work together to break the formation. Today that brat must die." Gu Yu and Gu He also attacked. Gu Yu used a long and thin sword. The blade radiated with light while Gu He held a lotus leaf. The lotus leaf was a level 8 spiritual herb. It was forged into an offensive magic weapon. The attacks of the 3 were extremely fierce. The mountaintop Qin Feng sat on rumbled. The crowd was already dumbfounded. When they saw the 3 young geniuses make their moves, they realized that they had underestimated their strength. Bai Qiming led a group of loose cultivators to a nearby mountain. He did not stop the 3 of them from attacking. Now that the situation had developed to this point, Bai Qiming could not find any reason to intervene. Even Qin Fen had indicated that he did not need help. They could not be thick-skinned and take the risk. The speed at which the array was being broken was faster than everyone had imagined. In the short time it took for a stick of incense to burn, the aura of the level 6 defense array was extremely weak. Just as the eyes of Xia Yingjun and the other two lit up with excitement, an earth-shattering explosion sounded from the top of the mountain. The three of them were stunned. This wasn't caused by their attacks. Crackle! It wasn't the sound of a violent collision at all, but a thunderous explosion. Everyone looked up at the sky above the mountain. The sky was filled with thunderclouds. The weather is changing, and the thunderclouds are condensing. Are these the signs of a breakthrough? Who the hell is this person? He actually set up a formation to break through, under the pursuit of 3 geniuses. He is really broad-minded. So what if he breaks through? I think that guy won't even be able to avoid the lightning tribulation. He will be killed by the 3 seniors first. No one could guess what Qinfen was thinking. He actually chose this kind of dangerous moment to break through. The thunderclouds in the sky became denser and denser. Lightning flashed through the clouds. Everyone doubted whether Qinfen could pass this powerful lightning tribulation. Not to mention that there were 3 late-stage Void God Realm experts blocking him. However, only a few Void God Realm experts were shocked. They were stunned by the powerful lightning tribulation that Qinfen's breakthrough triggered. Although the lightning hadn't actually landed, the violent aura hidden in the thunderclouds made them panic. How was this the lightning tribulation of a late-stage true spirit cultivator? It was even more ferocious than the Void God Realm's lightning tribulation. Whoosh! The first lightning bolt fell without any warning. It was a purple lightning bolt as thick as an arm. The lightning bolt flashed and disappeared like a purple dragon falling from the sky. It exploded on the mountain Qinfen was sitting on, and the level 6 defense array was instantly destroyed. Damn! What kind of lightning tribulation is this? Why is it so ferocious? Even my Void God Realm lightning tribulation isn't as powerful as his. No wonder he can kill Void God Realm experts, even though he's only in the true spirit realm. This young hero isn't simple. What a pity. If this young hero could control his arrogance, he might be famous in the entire South Flat continent in a few decades. But today he will die for sure. The 9 transformations True Lightning's power shocked the crowd. This was one of the 9 great killing lightning tribulations of the Divine Continent. Since Qinfen had decided to change back his identity after the Genius Conference, he didn't mind exposing the killing lightning tribulation. Xia Yingjun and the other 2 abruptly stopped in their tracks when the grade 6 defense formation broke. They had been waiting for the formation to break, but when the moment finally arrived, the 3 of them were suppressed by the might of the lightning tribulation that filled the sky. What kind of lightning tribulation is this? Xia Yingjun's eyes widened and his heart was in turmoil. Gu Yu and Gu He also had a complicated expression on their faces. Even the lightning tribulation they triggered when they broke through was not as ferocious as the one in front of them. Qinfen was just a true spirit realm cultivator, so how could he trigger such a heaven-defying lightning tribulation? I know, this is the killing lightning tribulation. Gu He screamed as the shock in her beautiful eyes intensified. Gu Yu and Xia Yingjun inhaled sharply. In fact, they had already thought of the killing lightning tribulation, but they were just unwilling to admit it. Rumor had it that there were 9 types of killing lightning tribulations in the Divine Continent. Anyone who could trigger a killing lightning tribulation was a peerless ultimate god expert. However, there were very few cultivators who could survive a killing lightning tribulation, and it was hard to say if there were any. Rumor had it that the Divine Continent's strongest expert, a great Tao ultimate god, also triggered a killing lightning tribulation and survived. However, the great Tao ultimate god was a matter of thousands of years ago, so it was impossible to verify whether the legend was true or not. After thousands of years, another person who triggered a killing lightning tribulation appeared. This person was standing on the mountain top. From his cultivation realm, it was obvious that he had successfully passed several killing lightning tribulations. How is this possible? Everyone had the same thought in their hearts. At this time, the mountain top where Qinfen was sitting cross-legged was surrounded by thunder clouds, as if it had formed a thunder mountain. He suddenly opened his eyes and stood up from the ground. He was surrounded by a sea of thunder, but his expression was calm without the slightest fear. Even his eyes could not hide the light of excitement. True Spirit Realm 8. True Spirit Realm 9. This time, he had crossed 2 small realms in a row, from True Spirit Realm 7 to peak True Spirit Realm 9. Moreover, the effects of the 2 void-breaking pills had not completely dissipated. There were still 3 supreme grade spirit stones left under his feet. Qinfen knew that if he continued to cultivate, he could break through again. However, the lightning tribulation had appeared and destroyed the rank 6 defense formation. Even if he wanted to break through to the empty god realm now, Xia Yingjun and the others could not help him. Chapter 1950. Quick! Don't let that kid pass the tribulation successfully. Xia Yingjun woke up and immediately slashed towards Qinfen's mountain peak. Qinfen's strength was out of Xia Yingjun's expectations. This guy could actually trigger a sure-kill lightning tribulation. No wonder he could kill Lin Rui, who was at Hollow God Realm level 6. If they allowed this monster to continue developing, he would definitely be a nightmare for their sections. Xia Yingjun wasn't the only one who realized the severity of the problem. When Gu Yu and Gu He woke up, they attacked immediately. The swords and sabers condensed from quintessential essence fell from the sky, while Gu He used her lotus leaves to conjure up a powerful quintessential essence storm to attack the top of the mountain. When the 3 attacks collided in midair, a black hole immediately appeared in the space around them. The mountain peak collapsed instantly, but everyone realized that Qinfen wasn't dead. This was because the lightning clouds in the sky hadn't dissipated, and there were still several bolts of lightning striking down. Rumble! Wherever the lightning bolts landed, the mountain collapsed and the ground cracked. This was the first time everyone had seen such a powerful lightning tribulation, and they were all dumbfounded. When Qinfen appeared again, he stood on a flying sword and hovered in front of Xia Yingjun and the other 2. His body was surrounded by lightning and crackling sounds could be heard. A powerful aura shot out from his body, causing Xia Yingjun and the other 2 to feel some fear. What kind of monster is this? The 3 of them were shocked. As the representatives of the South Flat Continent's top geniuses, before they met Qinfen, they had always looked down on their peers with a high and mighty attitude. They didn't even care about some of the elders. But after witnessing Qinfen's godly might today, they felt extremely ashamed. Compared to Qinfen's talent, they were completely useless cultivators. They regretted offending Qinfen, but it was too late to retreat now. The 3 of them could see the strong killing intent in Qinfen's eyes. Not only did this guy not escape, he actually wanted to kill the 3 of them. He's just a true spirit realm itinerant cultivator. So what if he breaks through to the peak? The 3 of us can definitely kill him if we work together. Xia Yingjun felt a sense of panic. This feeling was foreign to him, and he had never felt this way before he met Qinfen. He immediately roped in Gu Yu and Gu He, trying to relieve the pressure in this way. But just as he finished speaking, Qinfen's attack had already arrived. Or rather, it was not Qinfen who launched the attack, but the lightning tribulation he triggered exploded above Xia Yingjun's head. Whoosh! When the purple thunder that was as thick as a person's waist fell, Gu Yu and Gu He, who were about to make a move, were stunned on the spot. They even forgot to attack, but their bodies instinctively retreated and avoided the sea of thunder. Xia Yingjun immediately realized that he was the only one left in the sea of lightning. He immediately dispelled the thought of fighting Qinfen head-on. However, before he could escape, a powerful divine sense pierced his mind and attacked his sea of consciousness. At this moment, Xia Yingjun revealed an incomparably shocked expression. The strength of his divine sense was definitely at the peak among his peers. But when Qinfeng's divine sense attack was launched, he didn't even have a chance to resist before he was hit. The other party actually had a divine sense attack? Xia Yingjun couldn't believe it. He thought that Qinfen had used all sorts of methods to kill Lin Rui. Only now did he suddenly realize that what Qinfen had revealed was only the tip of the iceberg. Under the combination of the lightning tribulation and the divine sense attack, Xia Yingjun was stunned for a moment. But it was also in this short gap that a waist-thick purple thunder exploded on his body, instantly destroying the high-grade spirit armor he was wearing. Xia Yingjun's clothes were all torn apart, and smoke rose from his body. His hair was disheveled and his skin was charred. He looked extremely battered and exhausted. The crowd had long been in an uproar. This was the eldest genius disciple of a 7-star sect, Time Mountain. He was usually elegant and aloof. This was the first time everyone had seen him in such a miserable state. However, this was only the beginning. That resplendent black light appeared again, instantly enveloping the sky within a radius of 1,000 meters. The area that was enveloped by the black light was like a huge black hole that even divine sense couldn't penetrate. Within the boundary, Qin Feng hovered in the air on his sword. He held a dazzling black saber in his hand, and his eyes were filled with cold light. Xia Yingjun was shocked. He had thought that Qin Feng had a position-type treasure, like the 7-colored ghost face soul banner, which was why he was able to trap and kill Lin Rui. Now that he was personally trapped in the boundary, he suddenly realized that Qin Feng had actually used the boundary. How is this possible? You're only at the true spirit stage. How can you use the boundary? Xia Yingjun seemed to be muttering to himself, his voice trembling. Qin Feng had heard these words too many times. Almost every expert who died in his boundary would ask the same question before they died. No one has ever said that the boundary can only be comprehended at the nihility God stage and used at the body condensation stage. To think that you're a top genius of the South Plateau continent. You're an insult to the name of a genius. Qin Feng's words exploded in Xia Yingjun's mind like thunder. If anyone else dared to question his title as a genius, he would definitely refute them angrily. However, when Qin Feng said these words calmly, he didn't even have the mood to refute. When the aura of death enveloped him, Xia Yingjun finally realized that he was going to die. He had never considered such a thing before. He was young and promising. He had reached the late-stage nihility God stage before the age of 50, and had the backing of a 7-star sect. How could he be killed? However, the killing intent under Qin Feng's saber was so cold that it was about to solidify. Xia Yingjun knew that Qin Feng really dared to kill him, because Qin Feng had killed Gu Xiaoyao's Lin Rui not long ago. Don't kill me. I'm willing to withdraw from the competition. Xia Yingjun was anxious. The people outside the boundary couldn't hear these words at all. Otherwise, the crowd would be in an uproar again. The genius disciple of a 7-star sect, Time Mountain, was scared off by a late-stage true spirit cultivator. This was a huge joke. Don't you think it's too late to say all this now? Puchi. Qin Feng's hand didn't stop moving. The saber wasn't fast. It was like an old granny practicing the taiji, sword on the square in the morning. However, no matter how slow it was, Xia Yingjun couldn't dodge it. His body was completely trapped by Qin Feng's boundary. He could only watch as death approached. That feeling made him go crazy. The explosion was earth-shattering. The black hole boundary in the sky quickly dissipated. Qin Feng's figure gradually became clear, but he could no longer see Xia Yingjun. Not only did he disappear, but he couldn't even catch a trace of his aura. This scene was very similar to the scene where Qin Feng killed Gu Xiaoyao and Lin Rui not long ago. With the previous example, everyone immediately realized the truth of Xia Yingjun's death. However, it was hard for them to accept this fact. Xia Yingjun was a top genius of the South Plateau continent. Whoosh! The intense thunder woke the crowd up from the shock. The lightning tribulation caused by Qin Feng had yet to dissipate. He had advanced from level 7 to level 9 in a row. 2 lightning tribulations had fallen at the same time. The cultivators gathered on the surrounding peaks were silent, not even the slightest movement. The group of disciples who were originally suspended in the sky had long been scared and fled in all directions. Even Gu He and Gu Yu had retreated. Qin Feng's strength was earth-shattering. These so-called geniuses of the South Flat continent felt ashamed. Before they met Qin Feng, they were arrogant and complacent, but now they only felt that they were trash. There would always be dark horses in every genius meet, but Qin Feng was definitely the strongest dark horse in the South Flat continent in the past few hundred years. He was just an itinerant cultivator, and no one knew his name before this. However, he had shocked everyone in the Maze Valley mystic realm today. He had single-handedly killed many sect geniuses, and even killed 2 disciples of 7-star sections. After stepping into the true spirit realm, Qin Feng no longer feared the lightning tribulation. He found that his cultivation kept increasing, but the power of the lightning tribulation didn't change much. His peak true spirit realm true essence was several times stronger than before, and his divine sense had also been strengthened. Qin Feng completely ignored the sea of lightning and swung his saber at Gu He and Gu Yu, chasing after the two of them. His actions made the crowd speechless, but he didn't get what he wanted this time. Before the saber could slash down, a white light appeared in the sky. Qin Feng felt dizzy, and when he opened his eyes again, he was already out of the secret maze valley. They're out, they're out. The secret maze valley is over. Why are there so few people? Why is the survival rate in the maze valley mystic realm so low? Something's wrong. There are so many rogue cultivators here. Could it be that the sect disciples didn't work together to bully the rogue cultivators? I found a terrifying matter. The 7-star sect Gu Xiaoyao's Lin Rui and Time Mountain Xiaoyingjun have disappeared? The crowd gathered in the Tiantong city square exploded. They had been anxiously waiting outside for a long time, and the secret realm had finally ended. But the secret maze valley this time was a bit different. Not only were there fewer cultivators coming out, the people that came out seemed to be stunned, standing in the center of the square without doing anything. Senior Bai Qiming, what's wrong with everyone? Gu Yu, my disciple, what are you doing standing there? Many people asked, but no one answered. After a while, a scream came from the crowd. Evildoer! A monster has appeared in the South Ping state. This voice woke up the participating cultivators. The sect disciples ran back to their sects like crazy, but the rogue cultivators were shouting excitedly, as if they were celebrating the new year. The crowd outside had no idea what was going on inside the maze valley, and they were completely confused. At this moment, a shadow appeared in the sky, and a violent aura swept up from its body, suppressing the group of shouting rogue cultivators into silence. Where is my carefree sect's head disciple Lin Rui? Who can tell me? The figure floating in the sky was the great elder of Gu Xiaoyao's team. His strong aura was unfathomable, and his cultivation level was even more unfathomable. Another figure appeared beside Gu Xiaoyao, wearing the clothes of Time Mountain. Why is Time Mountain Xiaoyingjuan's disciple nowhere to be seen? What exactly happened in the secret maze valley? The crowd outside the square finally realized what was going on, and immediately revealed a shocked expression. Lin Rui and Xiaoyingjun were the genius disciples of 7-star sects, and they were hot favorites to fight their way into the top 10 of the genius competition. In everyone's hearts, it was absolutely impossible for the two of them to die. However, once the maze valley was closed, everyone who was still alive would be teleported out. But now they could not see the two of them. What was going on? Chapter 1951. Gu He from Yunhua finally came to her senses. She turned around and stared at Qin Feng coldly. Elder Lin Dao, Elder Xia Deng. Lin Rui and Xiaoyingjun died in the maze valley mystic realm. They were killed by that person. The plaza was filled with screams when they heard that the two top geniuses of the South Flat continent had died. Tens of thousands of cultivators looked in the direction that Gu He pointed at, and landed their gazes on Qin Feng. Qin Feng stood in the center of the plaza with his white robe fluttering in the wind. He looked indifferent, as if he didn't see the complicated gazes that were cast at him. What? Lin Rui's disciple was killed? How is that possible? That kid is only at the peak of the true spirit realm. How could he be a match for Xiaoyingjuan's disciple? Girl Gu He, are you sure you're not mistaken? Gu Xiaoyao and the two elders from the Time Mountain were shocked. They took a quick glance at Qin Feng, and immediately felt that there was something fishy about this matter. Not to mention the two great elders of the 7-star sects. All the cultivators on the square had doubtful expressions on their faces. Only the disciples who came out of the maze valley had helpless expressions on their faces. Although they couldn't accept the truth, it was absolutely true. Elders, senior sister Gu He is right. Not only were senior brother Lin Rui and senior brother Xiaoyingjun killed, many disciples were also killed by that madman. He specifically targeted the disciples of the sects in the mystic realm, and even said that the disciples should either withdraw from the competition or die. Whoosh! The plaza was in an uproar. Everyone was stunned. There was actually someone who dared to speak such arrogant nonsense. Was he tired of living? Even Lin Dao and Xia Ding were stunned for a long time. When the two of them regained their senses, a strong killing intent surged out from their bodies. As soon as the killing intent spread out, some of the weaker cultivators felt dizzy. Elder of the Xingkuan sect, the genius disciple of your sect Su Qian, was also killed by that rogue cultivator. Senior Wan Li of the Myriad Formation sect is also dead. He was killed by that scoundrel. The 3 disciples of the Jiang clan who floated on water were all killed. The disciples of the Qilin mountain died tragically in the mystic realm. More and more sect disciples woke up from their stupor. They were so frightened by Qin Feng's power in the secret realm that they didn't dare to speak. After they came out, they immediately found the sect's elders to rely on and began to complain frantically. When the names of the genius disciples of the sects were announced, there was no lack of 6-star sects and 5-star sects among them. The crowd on the square was shocked once again as they looked at Qin Feng in disbelief. This fellow was clearly only in the peak 9th true spirit realm. How did he kill all these experts' disciples? How was this possible? Everyone who hadn't entered the secret realm had doubts in their hearts. If they had seen the power of Qin Feng's realm with their own eyes, as well as the sure-kill lightning tribulation that he had triggered, they probably wouldn't have these doubts anymore. How did he kill so many disciples? Who can give me a satisfactory answer? Lin Dao let out a wild roar. The clouds above his head tumbled, and the weather changed along with his rage. At this moment, Lin Dao wished he could slap Qin Feng to death. Lin Rui was a genius disciple that Gu Xiaoyao had raised for several decades, and who knew how many cultivation resources had been spent on him. Now was the time for Lin Rui to repay the sect, but before he could even obtain a ranking in the genius competition, he had already been killed. However, Lin Dao still resisted the urge to kill. Compared to killing Qin Feng immediately, he wanted to know how this seemingly peak true spirit realm cultivator was able to do this. Elder Lin Dao, that fella can display a realm. Someone cried out loudly. Lin Dao's expression instantly changed as his eyes filled with disbelief. He had only comprehended realm when he was at the mid-void god realm, and could only use realm when he was at the early body condensation realm. The youth in front of him didn't seem to be over 30. How is this possible? Did I hear wrong? That brat can use realm? He's only a true spirit realm. Where did this monster come from? Could it be that the West Sea continent and the East Field continent came here to act tough? Even if he can use realm, it's impossible for him to kill late void god realm Lin Rui and Xia Yingjun. While the crowd was still in shock, someone shouted, "Not only can he use realm, but he also triggered the lightning tribulation." At that moment, the huge square of Tiantong City suddenly became quiet. It was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. Everyone stood motionless on the spot, as if they were under a spell. They were shocked as if their minds were being bombarded by lightning. He triggered the lightning tribulation? I heard that the cultivators who can trigger the lightning tribulation are all peerless ultimate gods. If they can survive the lightning tribulation, they will definitely become one of the top experts in the divine continent. I finally believe that he really has the talent to kill Lin Rui and Xia Yingjun. Lightning tribulation. Those 4 words echoed in Lin Dao's mind. It was a term he often heard, but it was so unfamiliar. The divine continent had developed for tens of thousands of years, and only a few peerless ultimate gods were able to trigger a deadly lightning tribulation. In the vast South Square continent, no one had ever heard of such a divine being appearing in the past 1,000 years. Now one had suddenly appeared out of nowhere, but he was not a disciple of any sect. His face was so unfamiliar that no one had even heard of his name. "How dare you kill my sect's disciple Lin Rui? Today will be the day you die." The shock in Lin Dao's heart had not subsided, but he had already launched an attack on Qin Feng. Qin Feng was already a dead man in Lin Dao's eyes when he found out that Qin Feng could trigger the lightning tribulation. How could such a monstrous genius cultivator be left alive? If he was allowed to develop further, he would become a nightmare for the 7-star sects. A huge true essence handprint floated in the air. It was several times bigger than the handprint of a hollow god realm cultivator. The thick true essence condensed into a substantial cloud, covering half the sky. The light surrounding Qin Fun was completely shrouded. He felt like he was standing in a dark corner, like an ant that could be killed at any time. When the surging true essence appeared, he realized that his opponent's cultivation was not something he could handle. He did not even have a chance of survival. Qin Fun wanted to hide in the astral world immediately. Now that he was in a life and death situation, he did not have the time to consider whether the system would be exposed. Moreover, he realized that his system might have been exposed a long time ago. In the Maze Valley secret territory, he always felt like he was being monitored. Once he left the secret territory, that feeling disappeared immediately. This is Tiantong City. Who dares to behave atrociously here? Before Qin Fun could activate his thoughts, an old and dignified voice rang out. A layer of true essence appeared above Qin Fun's head. That true essence barrier collided with Lin Dao's palm print, and a violent explosion spread out, even causing a black hole to collapse in the vast sky. But Qin Fun stood in the middle of the true essence barrier, and didn't feel anything at all. Chapter 1952. Explosions sounded one after another. A shadow appeared in the explosion. It was the elder from Tiantong City. He stood in the middle of the explosion, surrounded by a layer of mist and light, as if he wasn't afraid of the power of the explosion. Lin Dao's attack didn't land, so he was extremely angry. However, when the elder from Tiantong City appeared, his aura immediately dissipated. I didn't know that Brother Tianming was here. I was impolite. Lin Dao cupped his fists and smiled. He looked completely different from the ferocious expression he had when he wanted to kill Qin Feng. Tianming's figure was blurry, so his expression couldn't be seen clearly. However, his tone was cold. Tiantong City has always been peaceful. No one or force is allowed to cause trouble here. It seems that Elder Lin Dao is challenging the dignity of my Tiantong City? A cold light flashed in Lin Dao's eyes. Although he was very dissatisfied with Tiantong City, he had no choice but to face the powerful forces of Tiantong City. The city lord of this city was elusive, and was usually only protected by 4 great elders. These 4 elders had unfathomable cultivation, and even Lin Dao did not have the confidence to deal with them. I think Brother Tianming has misunderstood. Our Gu Xiaoyao has always been on good terms with Tiantong City. Why would we cause trouble here? It's just that Brother Tianming must have seen what happened just now. That reckless disciple started a massacre in the secret realm. He killed our sect's disciples, and even killed our genius disciple Lin Rui. How can I not take revenge? When Lin Dao mentioned Lin Rui's death, a ferocious expression appeared on his face again. However, Tianming's tone didn't change. He said indifferently, "The dispute between you has nothing to do with Tiantong City. I only protect the rules established by Tiantong City. If anyone dares to make a move in Tiantong City, don't blame me for being impolite." Even if the other party was the great elder of a 7-star sect in South Pingzhou continent, Tianming didn't give him any face. This action shocked the crowd. Tiantong City was really unyielding. Lin Dao's beloved disciple died, and he was slapped in the face in front of everyone. He was furious, but he didn't fall out with Tianming in the end. That was an extremely unwise decision. The 2 figures disappeared in the sky. The auras of Lin Dao and Time Mountain's great elder Xia Deng had already dissipated. On the surface, it seemed like they were going to let Qin Feng go. However, everyone knew that they were just waiting for an opportunity. The genius contest continued. Tianming's figure floated in the air, and his aged voice rang clearly in the ears of every cultivator present. The first segment of the labyrinth's secret realm has ended. Now, may the contestants draw lots for the second segment. Other than the first segment, the Maze Valley secret domain, the subsequent segments of the South Flat Continent's genius meet were similar to the North Sand Continent's. The advancing disciples would draw lots to determine their opponents, and the top 100 geniuses of the South Flat Continent would be chosen through elimination. Finally, the top 10 geniuses would be chosen. Qin Feng drew a bamboo lot with the number 1001 carved on it. When he jumped onto field 1001, he realized that no one had come up for a long time. Did his opponent run away? The disciple who drew number 1001, please come on stage. When the judges of the conference discovered the situation, they began to look for people. They called out a few times, but no one appeared. One last reminder. The cultivator who draws bamboo lot 1001 must come up the stage. If no one comes up after 3 seconds, that cultivator will automatically withdraw from the competition. After 3 seconds, only Qin Feng was left standing on the stage with his hands behind his back. The square was already filled with discussions. Everyone guessed that the contestant had already forfeited. After knowing that he was going to fight with the monstrous genius Qin Feng, he didn't even have the courage to go up the stage. The judges were speechless. In the past, they had never encountered such a situation. Even if a disciple forfeited, he would at least go up the stage to explain himself. This time, the opponent was so scared that he didn't even dare to show his face. However, after thinking about it, the 4 judges felt relieved. Qin Feng was a monster who single-handedly killed the powerful disciples of the various sects in the Maze Valley secret domain. Even the disciples of the 7-star sect Gu Xiaoyao and the Shattered Moon Mountain had died tragically in his hands. Facing such a terrifying opponent, it wasn't strange for him to be so scared that he forfeited the competition. Qin Feng won a match without even making a move, and became the first contestant to advance in the second round of the competition. However, the competition wasn't over yet. Qin Feng had to immediately join the next round of matches until his ranking was determined. The spectating cultivators on the square had complicated expressions. Qin Feng's sudden appearance had still left them in a state of shock. The topic about him never stopped. Regardless of whether it was the rogue cultivators or the disciples of the sects, they were all talking about Xiao Feng. Younger brother Xia Deng, that ant must die. Outside the square, a voice transmission flew into the ears of the Time Mountain's great elder Xia Deng. He was probably the only one present who could hear this voice. In other words, if the great elders of Sky Connection City wanted to hear it, they could hear it too. Xia Deng's eyes were cold as he replied, "Dao brother Lin, we will definitely kill him. However, we are still in Sky Connection City, so we should be careful. We will keep watch outside Sky Connection City. As soon as that ant steps out of the city gate, we will immediately take action." The 2 great elders of the 7-star sects were completely enraged by Qin Feng. They were waiting for the end of the competition with the mentality of killing Qin Feng. Their capable disciple had already died, and even the other 2 disciples who participated in the competition had died in the Maze Valley secret domain. As such, Gu Xiaoyao and the Time Mountain were no longer fated to participate in this year's genius competition. They wouldn't even be able to get into the top 100. Such a thing would never happen in previous genius competitions. These 2 peak sects of the South Plateau continent were not the only ones planning to kill Qin Feng. Almost all the sects and forces in the South Plateau continent had their eyes on Qin Feng. Yunyue and the 2 elders of the Wind God Valley were also communicating with Zhen Yuan. The leader of the Myriad Formation sect was gnashing his teeth in anger. Su Wumian of the Xinkuan sect had also arrived. His eyes were filled with killing intent as he stared at Qin Feng at all times. It was only because he did not know that Qin Feng was the one who took the spirit tortoise shell from the Xinkuan weapon workshop. Otherwise he would have vomited blood and died from anger. Qilin Mountain, Drifting on Water, Jiang Clan, Wind Element Sect, Immortal Gourd Sect, Tai Sect. There were countless sects that wanted to kill Qin Feng. Qin Feng probably did not expect it to be so big this time. However, in a corner of the square, a tall and thin woman stood in a daze. She maintained her shocked expression for a long time. Her red lips were slightly open, and tears welled up in her sparkling eyes as she stared at Qin Feng in the center of the square. A few drops of tears rolled down the woman's pretty face, but the corner of her mouth curved into a smile. These were tears of joy. At this moment she even felt like she was dreaming. Ever since she came to this foreign continent more than a year ago, the woman had always wanted to return to her hometown. However, she knew that she could not go back. Moreover, she did not want to leave just like that, because she had not met the person she was looking for. However, on such a special occasion, the woman saw the man she had been looking for a long time. The man wore a white robe, and stood on the square with his hands behind his back. His divine aura suppressed all living beings. Even the contestants who fought with him all gave up, not even daring to show their faces. The woman was Qin Duoer. She was crying tears of joy. Her brother had reached the peak of martial arts in China, and he had come to this foreign and powerful divine mainland. He was still the big brother in Qin Duoer's heart. Brother! Qin Duo! Could not help but shout out. This was the emotion she had suppressed in her heart for more than 2 years. However, the crowd on the square was like a tide of thunder. Her voice was immediately drowned out. Mu Qin, what are you doing? A tall and handsome figure stood in front of Qin Duoer, stopping her from rushing to the arena. Qin Duoer looked at the man anxiously and said, Eldest senior brother, I want to go up. The man frowned. Little junior sister, only contestants can enter that arena. You can't go there. Qin Duoer was anxious. She looked past Mu Jingyi and stared at Qin Feng, who was in the center of the arena. She was afraid that her brother would disappear if she blinked. Qin Duo originally came with her uncle and grandfather, but she was chosen by an elder of the Celestial Gourd sect and brought back to the sect, leaving her alone. She was only a girl in her early 20s. One could imagine the helplessness and despair of living alone in a completely foreign continent. Now that she had finally found her brother, Qin Duo wanted to rush to Qin Feng's side immediately. She did not want to be separated from her brother for even a second. However, Mu Jingyi stood in front of her. Qin Duoer was furious. Mu Jingyi, get out of my way. I'm not Mu Qin. I'm Qin Duoer. Mu Jingyi was stunned. He looked at her in surprise. Mu Qin, what's wrong? I'm your eldest senior brother. Suddenly, a figure floated over with a strong aura. Qin Duoer, do you know that person? Even though Qin Duoer was very anxious, she still bowed and said, Master, I found my brother. The old man squinted his eyes. A cold light flashed across his eyes. You said that monster is your brother? Qin Duoer was very anxious after seeing Qin Feng. She did not have the time to think. She said proudly, Yes, that peerless genius is my brother. Hearing this, the disciples of the Celestial Gourd sect became silent. They looked at Qin Duoer in disbelief. If Qin Feng was here, he would definitely recognize Qin Duoer's master. It was the old man who had been waiting for him, with another elder of the Celestial Gourd sect, for more than half a month. Qin Duoer finally realized the seriousness of the problem when she felt the strange looks from her senior brothers and sisters. It was said that Qin Feng had slaughtered the disciples of the Celestial Gourd sect in the secret land of the Maze Valley. He even killed the genius disciple of the Celestial Gourd sect. Now that the Celestial Gourd sect and Qin Feng were enemies, what should she do? I was worried about how to catch that brat. Now that the opportunity is here, you guys watch Mu Qin. Don't let her cause any trouble. Elder Mu Jin's tone was cold. When he looked at Qin Feng in the arena, a playful smile flashed across his eyes. Qin Duoer was very anxious. She regretted exposing her relationship with Qin Feng. Even if Mu Jin did not say how she was going to deal with Qin Feng, Qin Duoer could guess that it had something to do with her. Master, my brother will not kill the innocent. There must be a misunderstanding. Please forgive him this time. Qin Duoer tried her best to plead, but Mu Jin did not even look at her. She disappeared. Chapter 1953. Qin Feng didn't know that Qin Duoer was on the square, and he didn't even use his divine sense to search. First, there were more than 100,000 cultivators on the square, and it would be troublesome to use his divine sense to scan them one by one. Second, he didn't think that his sister would come to participate in the Genius Conference. After all, he knew Qin Duoer's cultivation, and she didn't have the qualifications to come here. Soon the first round of the competition ended. Qin Feng drew a new lot. When he jumped onto the corresponding square, his opponent ran away, without even showing his face. The crowd started to discuss again. Even though this year's Genius Conference hadn't ended and Qin Feng's name hadn't been announced, his name had already spread far and wide. This was his goal for participating in the conference. The same situation happened more than 10 times. Every time, Only Qin Feng stood on the stage. His opponent never appeared, and he didn't even know which sect he was from. Even Qin Feng didn't think this would happen. He realized that it was his power in the secret domain that suppressed all the participants. However, when he thought about it from another perspective, the actions of those contestants, who withdrew from the competition, were extremely wise. He had even killed 2 genius disciples from a 7-star sect. So how could other cultivators challenge him? This was no different from suicide. No one dared to challenge him. So Qin Feng had a moment of peace. The competition quickly progressed to the end, and the names of the top 10 geniuses were revealed. Naturally, Qin Feng was one of them. Moreover, he was one of the people who entered the top 10 geniuses without even fighting. This situation had never happened in the past. Qin Feng had created an unprecedented legend. However, the competition wasn't over yet. There was still a top 10 ranking to be determined. Once again, Qin Feng drew number 5. As he stood on the 5th stage with his hands behind his back, he wondered if his opponent would continue to withdraw. The moment this thought appeared, a black shadow landed in front of him with a familiar face. I didn't have time to kill you in the secret domain. Now is the perfect time. Qin Feng's expression was cold. His opponent this time was Guyu of the Wind God Valley. When the two of them faced off, the square was filled with screams. This was definitely a battle worth looking forward to. Finally, someone dares to fight that brat, and it's Senior Guyu of the Wind God Valley. Rumor has it that Senior Guyu has already reached Nihility God Realm level 7, and is able to kill people who are stronger than him. I want to see how capable that rogue cultivator is. Can he defeat Senior Guyu? That kid's strength was all described by the cultivators, who came out from the Maze Valley pocket dimension. We didn't see it with our own eyes. Even now, I still have my doubts about whether it's true or not. Only the participating cultivators had seen Qin Feng's divine might, and most of the cultivators gathered outside the Tiantong City Plaza had only heard of it. How much they were looking forward to seeing Qin Feng fight. They really wanted to see how powerful this monstrous genius, that even the disciples of 7-star sects were afraid of, was. In the end, all the previous opponents had fled without a fight. They were so scared that they didn't even dare to show their faces. Now that someone had finally stepped up, everyone's hearts were about to jump out of their throats. It was just that when Guyu opened her mouth, it was like a basin of cold water splashed on everyone's head, making their excitement disappear in an instant. I'm not here to challenge you. I forfeit the competition. Guyu's voice was a bit low, and he didn't even look at Qin Feng's eyes. If it was possible, Guyu would rather be like those cultivators who fled without fighting, leaving without showing their face. But now that the names of the top 10 geniuses had appeared, each cultivator's background was not small. Their identity information was very clear. If he really ran away, the judges would also know his identity. When the judges announced that Guyu of the Wind God Valley fled without a fight, he wouldn't have the face to continue staying in the South Pingzhou state. A disciple of a 7-star sect only has this much? He doesn't even have the courage to fight? Qin Feng had a cold smile on his face. He really hoped that Guyu would fight. He had just broken through to peak True Spirit Realm level 9 from the Maze Valley pocket dimension, and he urgently needed some experts to help him stabilize his realm. But even with such arrogant words, Guyu still didn't accept the challenge. He had personally witnessed Qin Feng's powerful skills. This person had killed Lin Rui and Xia Yingjun when he was still at True Spirit Realm level 7. Now that he had broken through to peak True Spirit Realm level 9, he didn't know how powerful he was. The square was filled with exclamations. No one expected Guyu to withdraw from the competition. He was a genius disciple of one of the 4 7-star sects in the South Pingzhou state. Before the start of this year's competition, he was internally designated as one of the 4 geniuses. Guyu, what nonsense are you saying? The Wind God Valley's great elder Guyong roared angrily, and a fierce aura swept across the square, causing the crowd to breathe rapidly. It seemed that Guyu's decision to withdraw from the competition was not even mentioned to the great elder of the sect. He knew that it was useless to say it, as Elder Guyong wouldn't agree. But Elder Guyong didn't even enter the Maze Valley pocket dimension, so how would he know how powerful Qin Feng was? Even if the great elder stopped him, Gu Yu was determined to withdraw. He was very clear that withdrawing from the competition would cause his reputation to plummet, and he might not be able to rise again for a long time. But he was even more clear that if he braced himself and fought with Qin Feng, he would only end up dead. Between his life and face, Gu Yu chose the former. If he died, he would have nothing left. I've decided to withdraw from the competition. Judges, please announce the results. Gu Yu's face was resolute, and he didn't dare to look at the furious great elder Gu Yong below the stage. The 4 judges were stunned for a long time before they recovered, and looked at Gu Yu with puzzled expressions. One of them asked, "Gu Yu, are you sure you want to withdraw?" "I'm definitely withdrawing." "Good, you evil disciple. When we return to the sect, see how this old man will punish you." Gu Yong almost fainted from anger. The judge shook his head and sighed. He was also looking forward to the battle between Qin Feng and Gu Yu, who knew that even Gu Yu would be scared to the point of withdrawing. Was that youth called Xiao Feng really that scary? I announced that the 10th place of this year's genius competition has been decided. Disciple Gu Yu of the 7-star sect Wind God Valley. When the judge's voice fell, the huge plaza was completely silent. The title of the South Flat Continent's 10th genius was already extremely rare. If it was in the previous genius competitions, it would definitely cause the crowd to scream. However, this result was simply a humiliation to the Wind God Valley. They were aiming for the title of number 1 genius. Gu Yu had already left. For a long time, he wouldn't have the face to appear in public in the South Flat Continent. All of this was caused by Qin Feng. Gu Yu kept muttering Xiao Feng's name in his heart. One day he would take revenge. The competition continued. Soon, the 9th to 3rd places were confirmed. Because of the withdrawal of Time Mountain and Gu Xiaoyao, the top 10 geniuses of this year's genius competition were squeezed into some new sections. At this moment, everyone's gaze fell on the center of the plaza. The most anticipated number 1 genius was about to be born. However, a trace of worry arose in the hearts of the cultivators, because the candidates for number 1 genius were Qin Feng and Gu He. Everyone was afraid that Gu He would withdraw from the competition. I hope you won't be like that turtle Gu Yu. Otherwise, I will be very disappointed. Qin Feng's words were extremely arrogant. He purposely provoked Gu He, because he was also worried that this woman would withdraw from the competition. However, it was obviously useless to provoke the genius disciples of the 7-star sections. Gu He had an indifferent expression and said in a cold tone, "I withdraw from the competition." Whoosh! The crowd could no longer remain calm. Even Yin Yu's Gu He was withdrawing from the competition. In this case, didn't that itinerant cultivator with no identity become this year's number 1 genius? What exactly is his background? He didn't even need to make a move from the beginning to the end, and easily took the throne of the South Flat Continent's number 1 genius? This is too ridiculous. I even suspect that this year's number 1 genius has already been decided internally. That guy is definitely not an itinerant cultivator. His true background is probably terrifying. Didn't they say that he went on a killing spree in the Maze Valley Mystic Realm? Even Lin Rui and Senior Xia Yingjun died in his hands. Does he need to act so realistically? Are you stupid? The matter of the Maze Valley Mystic Realm is just what they said. No one knows what the real situation is. Qin Feng laughed in his heart when he heard people suspect that he was involved in dirty tricks. However, even he didn't expect that he would win this year's genius competition in such a way. After he came out of the Maze Valley Mystic Realm, he didn't fight again. His opponents all fled without fighting. The crowd on the plaza couldn't recover for a long time. The 4 judges on the stage were also dumbfounded. After Gu He explained the withdrawal, she glared coldly at Qin Feng and left. Perhaps if the title of South Flat Continent's number 2 genius fell on another cultivator's head, those people would be overjoyed. However, Gu He was aiming for the number 1 genius. She wasn't interested in the other rankings at all. However, when she truly faced Qin Feng, she instantly lost the courage to fight. Her cultivation was 1 level lower than Gu Yu's. If even Gu Yu chose to withdraw, what confidence did she have in defeating Qin Feng? The judges finally came to their senses. Their eyes were still filled with shock. One of them slowly walked to Qin Feng's side and said with a trembling voice, "Taoists of the South Flat Continent, this year's genius competition's #1 has appeared. Everyone has seen him." The judge suddenly stopped mid-sentence. He wanted to say, "Everyone has seen Xiao Feng's invincible might." However, he suddenly realized that Qin Feng didn't even fight. He coughed and continued, "Congratulations, Xiao Feng, for becoming this year's #1 genius of the South Flat Continent." Although it was a fact that Qin Feng had become the #1 genius, when the judge personally said it, it still caused the crowd to exclaim in shock. He really became the #1 genius. He didn't even fight once. In my memory, the #1 genius of the South Flat Continent has been taken by sect disciples. Young hero Xiao Feng is probably the first person in the past few hundred years to become the #1 genius as an independent cultivator. Big brother. While the crowd was in heated discussion, Qin Duoer's eyes were already brimming with tears of excitement. She was more excited than anyone else, because the white-robed youth standing in the center of the plaza with his hands behind his back was her big brother. She was happy and proud of her big brother's achievements today. Chapter 1954. Qin Fen wasn't interested in the title of the #1 genius. He came to the South Pingzhou Genius Conference to become famous and let his sister know. Qin Fen couldn't imagine the loneliness and helplessness his sister, who was originally on Earth, had to bear after coming to a strange and cruel world like the Divine Continent. He wanted his sister to know that he was also in the South Pingzhou Genius Conference, so that she could find a home for her soul. Just as Qin Duoer was thinking about her brother, Qin Fen's heart skipped a beat. He had a strong intuition that even he couldn't describe. He immediately scanned a corner of the square with his divine sense. Duoer. Qin Fen was dumbfounded. He thought he was hallucinating, but when his divine sense locked onto Qin Duoer, he realized that his sister was standing right in front of him. "I believe that everyone has the same regret as me. It's that you didn't get to see young hero Qiao fight with your own eyes. Now, I suggest that young hero Qiao show everyone his skills. What do you all think?" The representative of the judges made a new request. But as soon as he finished speaking, he looked at the sky in shock. Qin Fen was no longer standing next to him. A silver light appeared under his feet, and he rushed out of the square. Whoosh! The crowd was in an uproar. Everyone thought that Qin Fen was really going to show his skills, but they realized they were wrong. Qin Fen hovered in the air above the square on his flying sword. He stared at the disciples of the Celestial Gourd sect, as if he was looking at a girl. Tens of thousands of eyes fell on Qin Duoer, but she didn't realize it. She raised her head and stared at the sky. Her brother was right in front of her, and he was looking at her with the same passionate gaze. Her brother had found her. Duoer. Qin Fen's voice was trembling. He couldn't remember the last time he was this excited and nervous. He was so nervous that everything in front of him was an illusion. His sister would disappear in a blink of an eye. He had fought many powerful venerables and escaped from the edge of life and death, but he had never been this nervous. After a while, Qin Fen let out a long sigh of relief. He knew that his sister was right in front of him. Not only was he able to see his sister's face, but he could also sense her familiar aura and sweet smile. It couldn't be an illusion. "Brother, take me away." Qin Duoer woke up with a start. 2 drops of tears rolled down her smiling face. At this moment, she recalled many memories of her time with Qin Fen. Those were the memories of when she was on Earth. She followed behind Qin Fen like a shadow and built a snowman with him. Actually, the time she spent with Qin Fen was very short. They only reunited for a few days during Chinese New Year every year. "All right." Qin Fen responded softly, but his voice was filled with an unquestionable momentum. He bent down and rushed towards the Immortal Gourd sect, but before he could land, a powerful True Essence handprint blocked his way in midair, blocking his way. "Mu Qin is the disciple of my Celestial Gourd. How can you take her away just because you want to?" An old and dignified voice spread along with the quintessential Essence handprint. Many people were immediately shocked. They saw the figure that appeared in the void. It was the great elder of the Celestial Gourd Mu Zhen. Qin Fen immediately felt Mu Zhen's powerful true essence. This was an old man who had stepped into the peak of the Nihility God realm. Although Qin Fen had stepped into the peak of the true spirit realm not long ago, he was not confident that he could deal with the peak of the Nihility God realm. If it was any other time, Qin Fen would have turned around and left. He would not fight a battle that he was not confident in. However, the moment he saw his sister, his mind was in a frenzy. At this moment, even if the Emperor of Heaven was here, he would not be able to stop him. Get lost! Qin Fen roared and used his palm as a saber. His true essence instantly condensed into a long saber, as if it was about to become a substantial saber. It exploded violently on the quintessential essence handprint. The deafening sound was earth-shattering. It was as if the sky above Tiantong City was going to explode. Qin Fen knew that Mu Zhen was powerful, so he did not hold back when he attacked. Under his fierce quintessential essence handprint, Mu Zhen's handprint gradually cracked and finally dissipated in the sky. It was just a simple strike, but it stunned the crowd in the square. Everyone had been waiting to see Qin Fen's attack. His attack was indeed extraordinary. He actually broke the attack of Elder Mu Zhen, who was at the peak of the Nihility God realm. What kind of monster was this kid? No wonder Lin Rue and Xia Yingjun died in his hands. Gu Yu and Gu He were so scared that they withdrew from the competition. Although this person's cultivation is at the peak of the true spirit realm, his strength is comparable to a peak of the Nihility God realm. How can there be such a heaven-defying cultivator? It's common for cultivators to kill people at a higher cultivation level than them, but I've never heard of someone like him, who killed people at a higher cultivation level than them. I'm a little suspicious of his age. Is this person really a cultivator below the age of 50? Qin Fen's saber caused the crowd in the square to boil. However, he did not care about the discussion. At this moment his eyes were spewing fire. There was only one thought in his mind, and that was to bring Qin Duo away from this place as soon as possible. When the quintessential essence handprint was broken by Qin Fen's saber, Mu Zhen revealed a look of disbelief. He finally knew how the disciple from the celestial gourd had died in Qin Fen's hands. This kid was actually so powerful. However, Mu Zhen quickly calmed down. His eyes were filled with killing intent. He had only used 70% of his strength in that attack, but he could tell that Qin Fen had used all his strength in that attack. Even Mu Zhen was amazed by Qin Fen's martial talent. He could see that Qin Fen had not hidden his strength, and he was only around 30 years old. To be able to kill a late-stage Nihility God realm cultivator at such a young age, there was probably no one else in the entire South Plain state who could do this. What a pity. Such a genius is about to fall. All of this was caused by your arrogance. You don't have to feel any resentment after you die. Mu Zhen's voice was light, but it was filled with killing intent towards Qin Fen. Just as he finished speaking, he casually raised his palm, and another huge quintessential essence handprint rose into the sky. This time, the handprint was even more ferocious. In everyone's eyes, it had already become a real palm. The patterns on the palm were clearly visible, and even the fingernails could be seen. This was the enlarged form of Mu Zhen's right hand. Rumble! Before Mu Zhen's palm strike was completed, the rising quintessential essence handprint had already exploded. The palm was extremely fast, and it swept up a surging quintessential essence aura. Before Qin Fen could dodge, the explosion had already engulfed him. Without any time to think, Qin Fen immediately circulated his quintessential essence to protect his body. At the same time, a huge green cauldron floated above his head. The green dragon cauldron spun rapidly, and countless green cauldron shadows clashed with the quintessential essence, producing a loud collision sound. The crowd outside stared at the sky. When the cultivators who came out of the Maze Valley mystic realm saw the green dragon cauldron, they were incomparably shocked. Back in the mystic realm, when Qin Fen killed Lin Rue and Xia Yingjun, he didn't even take out a defensive Dharma artifact. It was clear that those two geniuses of the South Plain state were not worth mentioning in Qin Fen's eyes. However, facing Mu Zhen's powerful might, Qin Fen didn't last long. The green dragon cauldron above his head let out a loud sound, and actually exploded from the violent quintessential essence. Following that, Qin Fun's body also let out a chaotic sound, and he was sent flying by the quintessential essence. When he landed, there was another loud sound, and the ground beneath him exploded into a deep crater. White fog rose from the crater, which was the effect of Mu Zhen's quintessential essence aura. Mu Zhen didn't give Qin Fan any chance to catch his breath, or rather, he didn't take Qin Fan seriously from the beginning. He was worried that the elders of Tiantong City would jump out to stop him. At that time, he wouldn't be able to resist them with his meager cultivation. He also believed that as long as he killed Qin Fan in advance, even if the elders of Tiantong City stood out to criticize him, they would only be reprimanded verbally. Why would they fall out with the immortal gourd over a dead person? When these thoughts rose in his mind, Mu Zhen's killing intent became even more resolute. Just as his figure reached the huge crater where Qin Fan had fallen, another quintessential essence palm slammed down. The crowd gasped. Anyone could feel that the power of this palm was even more ferocious than the previous two. It seemed that Grand Elder Mu Zhen was truly using his full strength at this moment. The huge square quietened down. Everyone stared unblinkingly at the rapidly descending quintessential essence palm print. The palm print was like a meteorite falling from the sky, foretelling that Qin Fan's life was about to end. No, let go of my brother. I won't go with my brother. Qin Duoer's face was covered in tears. However, no matter how much she screamed, the loud explosion in the air had already covered her voice. Mu Zhen couldn't even hear her. Just as the quintessential essence palm was about to hit the ground, and everyone was sure that Qin Fan would die, a black ray shot out from the deep crater. The black ray looked a little like a saber ray, but it was different from an ordinary saber ray. The area that was enveloped by the black ray seemed to be swallowed up. Everyone's vision was blocked, and even their divine senses were unable to sweep in. The black ray filled the air at an extremely fast speed. Not only could it swallow up light, but it also seemed to be able to freeze things. The quintessential essence palm, that should have destroyed the ground long ago, didn't move. In the end, it stopped above the deep crater and gradually dispersed. What is this? Many cultivators were confused. However, they saw the grand elders of the 7-star sects panicking at the same time. Their eyes were filled with shock. Is that the boundary? That kid has really comprehended the boundary, and even reached the initial success stage. He can use the boundary at will. How is this possible? This is absolutely impossible. Even I can't use the boundary. Gu Xiaoyao's Lindao elder couldn't accept it. No wonder Lin Rui and Xia Yingjun died in his hands. And Gu Yu's disciple didn't even dare to accept the challenge. This guy is a little too abnormal. Gu Yong muttered to himself. His resentment towards Gu Yu's withdrawal from the competition instantly dissipated. The boundary formed by Qin Fan wasn't wide. It only covered the area where he and Mu Zhen were fighting. The onlookers weren't affected by the boundary. Although they couldn't see what was happening in the boundary, they were still stunned by Qin Fan's strength. The most shocked one was Mu Zhen, who was in the boundary. When he felt the surrounding black rays shrouding him, he realized that this was the process of the boundary forming. He wanted to escape immediately, but he found that his opponent had already reached the initial success stage of the boundary. In a breath's time, the boundary had covered a large area of the void. I definitely won't let a monstrous genius like you live. After a moment of shock, a murderous look appeared in his eyes. He wanted to counterattack in Qin Fan's boundary. Obviously, he had a backup plan. Chapter 1955. Qin Fan was shocked. From Mu Zhen's reaction, he could guess that this old man was not simple. But his own realm had already formed, so what else could the other party do? Just as these thoughts appeared in his mind, a wild aura surged out of Mu Zhen's body. Qin Fan was instantly shocked. This was not qi, but the strange aura of a realm. Qin Fan finally knew what Mu Zhen's trump card was. This peak nihility god realm old man had also formed his own realm. It could be seen that his cultivation talent was very good. However, Qin Fan quickly calmed down. He found that the other party's realm was only at the initial stage, and hadn't even reached the small success stage. When the two realms overlapped, a beautiful scene appeared in the sky. In the eyes of the crowd, there were two black formations. The area where the two formations overlapped gave off a dazzling black light. It gave people a stronger feeling than other places. When his own formation was formed, the restraints on Mu Zhen's body quickly disappeared. He couldn't help but reveal a strong smile. To him, Qin Fen's trump card was his realm. Now that he could dissolve the other party's trump card, Qin Fen was dead for sure. But the smile on his face suddenly froze. Before he could even attack, he felt a stabbing pain in his divine sense. He found that his divine sense had been attacked. Mu Zhen could no longer maintain his calm appearance. Qin Fen was only at the peak of the true spirit realm, which was shocking enough. Mu Zhen found that this fellow could also use divine sense attacks? What kind of monster was this? Mu Zhen immediately sealed his divine sense to avoid the attack. But in this moment of distraction, Qin Fen's realm surged over and swallowed Mu Zhen's realm. This time, Qin Fen did not hesitate at all. He immediately used his qi to slash down with his saber. A violent explosion spread through the realm and echoed in the sky above the square. Rumble. Although they couldn't see what was happening in the realm, they could hear the violent sound. Everyone guessed that a hole had been cut in the sky. After the explosion lasted for a while, the black light started to dissipate. Qin Fen stood on his flying sword in the sky, but he could no longer find Mu Zhen. That fellow killed Elder Mu Zhen? A peak true spirit realm cultivator, killing a peak nihility god realm cultivator? Where did this monstrous cultivator come from? Look over there. Elder Mu Zhen isn't dead. Following a cry of surprise from the crowd, tens of thousands of pairs of eyes fell on a piece of flat ground 1,000 meters away. That place was originally flat, but now there was a huge crater. Mu Zhen was lying in the crater, seemingly unable to stand up. Under that saber strike, Qin Fen had erupted with all his strength. A ferocious quintessential essence aura completely exploded on Mu Zhen's body. Mu Zhen was trapped in this realm and couldn't even summon quintessential essence. This was equivalent to being heavily injured without any defense. His body was riddled with holes, and his 9 clones floated above the huge crater, staring into the distance with ferocious expressions. How dare you, Ant? I, Mu Zhen, will remember what happened today. One day, I will destroy your soul and make you unable to reincarnate. The auras of the 9 clones were extremely weak, and it seemed like they were heavily injured as well. Mu Zhen was planning to escape. He didn't even want his real body anymore. This action caused a commotion in the crowd. If he wasn't afraid of Qin Feng, how could he leave his real body behind? Rumor has it that Elder Mu Zhen is about to break through to body condensation state. Now that he has left his main body, it will delay his breakthrough. Even great Elder Mu Zhen was defeated. May I ask, in the vast South Flat state, who else at the Void God realm can be that guy's match? Trying to escape? Not so easy. Just when everyone thought that this battle would end with Mu Zhen's defeat and escape, they heard Qin Fen's furious roar in the sky. He didn't chase after the 9 clones. He just casually sent out a few palm strikes, and 9 balls of blue light shot out. Because they were too fast, no one could see what they were. Mu Zhen's 9 clones immediately sped up, and all of them revealed fearful expressions, as though they were very wary of the blue light that was chasing after them. However, the clones were all severely injured, and were eventually hit by the blue light. When the light collided with the clones, everyone finally saw the blue light that had stopped temporarily. It was a blue flame in the shape of a sunflower. However, it wasn't a complete sunflower, and it was only in the shape of a petal. If these 9 blue flames were gathered together, they would form a blooming blue sunflower. The sky seemed to be lit up by the 9 blue sunflowers, dyeing it a deep blue. The 9 clones couldn't resist the flames at all, and were instantly burned to ashes. Heavenly Fire Spirit Sunflower? That's the Heavenly Fire Spirit Sunflower ranked 20th on the Divine Supreme Continent. The crowd was in an uproar. It was even more shocking than Qin Fen's realm. As everyone knew, the Divine Supreme Continent had a total of 86 types of heaven and earth flames. Among them, 58 were earth flames and 28 were heaven flames. These heaven and earth flames all existed in extremely hidden wilderness or secret territories. Most cultivators wouldn't even see one heaven and earth flame in their lifetime, let alone collect such a powerful heaven and earth flame. How could Qin Fen not be surprised when he casually took out the Heaven Flame ranked 20th? Due to the appearance of the heavenly fire spirit sunflower, everyone ignored the burned Mu Zhen. The 9 spirit sunflowers were still burning in the sky, seemingly undying. Young hero Qiao's heavenly fire spirit sunflower is not in its initial state. It's a spirit sunflower that has evolved once. Rumor has it that after 9 evolutions, a spirit sunflower can form 9 petals. Once the spirit sunflower appears, the entire sky will change color. A few knowledgeable seniors in the crowd explained. Qin Fen's spirit sunflower fire seed had just evolved not long ago at the bottom of the 1000 Lotus Pond, in the depths of the 1000 Insect Valley. He used 3 level 7 fire spirit lotuses to feed the heaven flame, and completed the spirit sunflower's first evolution. When Qin Fen put away the spirit sunflower with his mind, the crowd gradually came to their senses. Many people realized that Great Elder Mu Zhen, who was in the Celestial Gourd sect, had died. His body and 9 avatars were all burned to ashes. There were at least 100,000 cultivators gathered in the huge Tiantong City Square. But at this moment, the square fell into silence, and a strange atmosphere floated in the air. The disciples of the Celestial Gourd sect couldn't accept the reality in front of them. For a long time, no one dared to stand up and accuse Qin Fen. Qin Duo Heir didn't expect her brother to kill Elder Mu Zhen. Before this, Mu Zhen's cultivation was simply invincible in Qin Duo Heir's eyes. How dare you, aunt? How dare you kill junior brother Mu Zhen? I think you're tired of living. A roar broke the silence. A black shadow appeared in the void. Before the shadow arrived, a sword light flew over. Before Qin Fen could react, the sword light was already in front of him. A sense of helplessness rose in Qin Fen's heart. He rarely felt this kind of feeling. Even when he fought with Mu Zhen before, Qin Fen only felt a strong killing intent. But this time, the person who rushed over made him feel like he couldn't resist. It could be seen that the other party's cultivation was far higher than Mu Zhen's. He was definitely a supreme being who had stepped into the body condensation realm. No matter how strong Qin Fen was, he was only at the peak of true spirit. He felt that he had reached his limit when he killed Mu Zhen. Now that he had jumped out of the body condensation realm, Qin Fen even thought of hiding in the astral world. Chapter 1956. Rumble. A loud sound exploded above Qin Fen's head. Before he could enter the astral space, a huge Zhen Yuan handprint appeared in the sky. Qin Fen knew that Elder Tianming from Tiantong City had arrived, because the aura of this true origin palm print was extremely familiar. Earlier, when Gu Xiaoyao's Grand Elder wanted to kill him, this true origin aura had appeared. The ferocious sword radiance engulfed the Zhen Yuan handprint. Qin Fen had no idea how powerful the Zhen Yuan handprint was. As for Elder Tianming, who was floating in the sky, his cultivation level was unfathomable. Qin Fen couldn't see through him at all. Another figure appeared too. He was wearing a black robe, and had a face full of anger. He was floating in the sky and staring at Qin Fen. Qin Fen knew the person's identity when he saw his appearance. When he entered the 1000 Insect Valley to explore, he fell into the Celestial Gourd sect from the bottom of the 1000 Lotus Lake. He was immediately guarded by 2 great elders of the Celestial Gourd sect. One of them was Mu Zhen, and the other was the old man in black robe floating in the sky. The old man's cultivation level was higher than Mu Zhen's. He was at least in the body condensation realm. His body was surrounded by a layer of mist, but it wasn't as blurry as the clones of Void God State cultivators. The mist seemed to have solidified and formed a second body. Qin Fen now knew that after breaking through to the body condensation realm, the 9 clones would fuse and form a new body. This body was called the Primordial Spirit. Moreover, the stronger the 9 clones of the Void God State, the stronger the Primordial Spirit when breaking through to the body condensation realm. Qin Fen hadn't even stepped into the Void God State yet. The body condensation realm was still a distance away for him. However, he could already feel the difference between the body condensation realm and the Void God State. He believed that even the top Void God State cultivators in the South Flat continent would find it hard to kill them, even if they were in the early stage body condensation realm. Thank you for saving me, Elder Tianming. Qinfen couldn't understand why Tianming saved him twice. If it was the first time, he could understand that it was because killing was forbidden in Tiantong City. However, he didn't see Tianming stopping him when he killed the Celestial Gourd Sect's great elder Mu Zhen on the square not long ago. He even had a thought that Heaven's Mandate was intentionally standing on his side to help him. When he saw that he could kill his opponent, Heaven's Mandate turned a blind eye. But when he saw that he was weaker than his opponent, Heaven's Mandate stood out to stop him. But why was that? Since he couldn't figure it out, Qinfen didn't want to think about it anymore. He immediately cupped his fists towards the sky to express his gratitude. Tianming nodded and said calmly, "Fighting is prohibited in Sky Pass City. You don't have to thank me. I'm just enforcing the law." When Mu Feng heard Tianming's words, he almost cursed out loud. Although he had just arrived, he had used his divine sense to scan the scene of Qinfen killing Mu Zhen when he was still dozens of miles away. Why hadn't Tianming stepped forward to stop him? Elder Tianming, what is the meaning of this? Mu Feng's body surged with a fierce true essence aura, causing the air around him to become chaotic. I've already said that fighting is forbidden in Sky Pass City. I'll stop anyone who does it and punish them severely. Tianming's expression didn't change. Bullshit. Why didn't you say this when my junior brother Mu Zhen was killed? Mu Feng roared. The two powerhouses faced each other in the sky, causing the cultivators in the square to tremble in fear. Once these two powerhouses started a fierce battle, they would be the unlucky ones. Violent true essence swept from Tianming's body. The true essence aura instantly formed a small hurricane whirlpool. The whirlpool floated above Tianming's head, as if it was under his control. Mu Feng's eyes twitched. Others couldn't see through Tianming's cultivation, but he could roughly guess it. To be able to instantly condense true essence into a whirlpool and control it freely, he had clearly stepped into the cauldron-filling realm. One of the four great elders of Sky Pass City was actually at the cauldron-filling realm? This fact was hard for Mu Feng to accept. In his six-star sect, the Immortal Gourd Sect, only Island Master Mu Chen had stepped into the cauldron-filling realm. Not to mention six-star sects. Even in the 4 7-star sects of the South Flat Continent, it was rare to find a powerhouse at the cauldron-filling realm. It could be seen that Sky Pass City was extremely powerful. No wonder they didn't even put the 7-star sects in their eyes. I'll repeat myself. Sky Pass City prohibits any killing. Since this is your first offense, I'll temporarily give you a verbal warning. If you dare to be ruthless again, don't blame me for being impolite. Tianming didn't give Mu Feng any face. This famous great elder of a 6-star sect in the South Flat Continent didn't seem to be worth mentioning in Tianming's eyes. At this moment, the cultivators in the square deeply understood the power of Sky Pass City. In the past, they had only heard rumors, but now they had seen it with their own eyes. Facing over 100,000 cultivators, if Mu Feng retreated now, he wouldn't only be losing his own face, but also the entire Immortal Gourd Sect's face. However, he didn't dare to attack Tianming. That would be courting death. Elders of the 4 7-star sects, I heard that a disciple of your sect was also killed by that ant. Are you going to swallow your anger? After hesitating for a while, Mu Feng started to ask for help. He was originally in seclusion in the sect, but he received an urgent flying sword message from a disciple. The flying sword briefly described what happened at the Genius Conference. So Mu Feng knew that Qinfen killed a genius disciple of a 7-star sect. He originally rushed over to see what kind of monster appeared in the South Flat Continent to be able to kill a disciple of a 7-star sect. In the end, he just arrived and saw the scene of Qinfen killing Mu Zhen. How could the 4 great elders of the 7-star sects not be angry? They were just worried about the rule of not killing in Sky Pass City. However, Qinfen broke the rule and killed Mu Zhen, but he was still safe and sound. This gave them an excuse. Immediately, 4 light figures appeared in the sky and stood in a row with Mu Feng. These 4 people were the great elder of Gu Xiaoyao, Lin Dao, Gu Yong of the Divine Wind Valley, Xia Ding of the Time Mountain, and Gu Shi of the Yunhua sect. The light mist on the 4 of them was even clearer than Mu Feng's. This meant that they had at least stepped into the body condensation realm, and they might even be cauldron-filling realm experts. After these 5 people floated in the sky, over a dozen light figures immediately shot into the sky. These figures all represented the great elders of large sections. Usually, any one of these elders could cause a stir in half of the South Flat continent. Now they were densely lined up in the sky, confronting Tianming. Floating on water, Jiang family elder, 6-star array sect myriad array sect elder, star sect refiner, Tai sect Taoist Zhang. When these experts stood in a row, fierce true essence surged out of their bodies and condensed. The airflow in the sky underwent a huge change, as if it was about to collapse. The aura emitted by these 10 people even suppressed the aura of over 100,000 cultivators on the plaza. This many experts confronting each other had never appeared in the South Flat continent in the past 100 years. However, all of this happened because of one person, Xiaofeng. Chapter 1957. As more and more powerful beings gathered around him, Mu Feng became more confident. With a cold expression, he glared at Tianming and shouted, "Xiaofeng killed my junior brother Mu Zhen. I want him to pay with his life." As soon as he finished speaking, Great Elder Gu Xiaoyao, Lin Dao's voice resounded. "Xiaofeng killed my sex genius disciple Lin Rui. He must die today. Xiaofeng killed my beloved disciple Xia Yingjun. Even 10 lives won't be enough for him." When the voices of the powerful beings resounded, the cultivators on the square couldn't help but think, Xiaofeng must die. All the disciples cheered for Qin Feng's death. However, there were a few cultivators from other sects who revealed grave expressions, such as Zhao Ziyu and the others from the 100 Thoughts sect, Shiyu from the Stone Blade sect. However, the one who was most worried was Qin Duo. She was so anxious that she didn't know what to do and felt extremely regretful. Now she understood Elder Mu Zhen's intention. He wanted to use her relationship with Qin Feng to kill Qin Feng. In the end, Mu Zhen was killed by Qin Feng instead. Now that the situation had developed like this, Qin Duo was filled with regret. If she could do it all over again, she would rather continue to live alone in this strange continent than call out her brother's name. However, it was too late. When more than 10 powerful beings floated into the sky and planned to kill Qin Feng, even Qin Duo felt that her brother would definitely die this time. Soon, she wiped away her tears and her expression became firm. If her brother was really killed, then she didn't plan to live anymore. Compared to living in this cruel and strange continent, perhaps death was another kind of release for Qin Duo. "You want to rebel in Tiantong City?" Tianming's expression was cold. However, when the great elders of the various sects gathered, they were no longer afraid of Tianming's threat. "It's not us who are rebelling. It's you who violated the rules of Tiantong City." "Oh, I finally understand. That brat can't be someone from your Tiantong City, right? No wonder you turned a blind eye to him killing innocent people here." Lin Dao coldly snorted. "You don't need to sow discord here. Xiaofeng has nothing to do with my Tiantong City. Don't think that you can behave atrociously in Tiantong City just because you have more people. Even if the city lord is not here now, I, the 4 great elders, will not do nothing." As soon as Tianming's voice fell, 3 violent auras surged in the air above the square. Unknowingly, 3 figures had appeared around Tianming. Each of their auras was no weaker than Tianming's. The crowd in the square was in an uproar as they stared at Long Sky's forces with their mouths agape. Both sides were overseen by almighty beings, and the lowest cultivation was at the body condensation realm. If this battle really started, the entire Tiantong City would probably be razed to the ground. They knew that danger was lurking everywhere, but no one left. It was rare to see a battle between venerables of this level. The cultivators in the square would rather risk their lives just to see the glory of these venerables. Where did this ant come from, daring to cause trouble in my Tiantong City? If you don't disperse, don't blame us for killing you. The Tiantong City elders who rushed over were ferocious, as if they couldn't see the row of masters in the sky. When they glanced at the 3 new Tiantong City elders, Lin Dao and the rest's mouths twitched. These 3 were at the same level as Tianming, They were all cauldron-filling state almighty beings. And these 4 Tiantong city elders were already cauldron-filling state. It was hard to imagine what realm the city lord was at. At this moment, the sect elders were silent. They wanted to retreat. Although they had 17 or 18 people, and had a huge advantage in numbers, there were only 2 cauldron-filling state cultivators among them. They were the Grand Elder of Wind God Valley, Gu Yong, and Yunyu Gushi. Both of them had just stepped into the cauldron-filling state not long ago. The rest were all body condensation state. But only Lin Dao and Xia Deng had stepped into the peak of body condensation realm 9. Most of the elders were just at the beginning stage of body condensation realm. This kind of lineup wasn't a match for the 4 Tiantong city elders at all. The difference in cultivation levels couldn't be made up with numbers. Even if Lin Dao had a few more body condensation state cultivators, they wouldn't be able to beat them. Seniors, are you sure you want to protect that ant and become enemies with all the sects in the South Flat State? Time Mountain Xia Deng spoke after a moment of stalemate. Tian Ming's expression was indifferent and didn't seem threatened at all. First, our Tiantong city never causes trouble. It's you who are breaking the rules here. Secondly, you're just a dozen 6- and 7-star sections. How can you represent all the sects in the South Flat State? Heh, what a bunch of arrogant people. Don't keep saying 7-star sections. It's fine to scare others, but you want to behave atrociously in Tiantong City? Asked the broadsword in my hand first. A Tiantong City elder took out his weapon. It was a high-grade cultivation artifact broadsword. The other 2 also had disdainful looks in their eyes. They weren't faking it. It was as if the so-called 7-star sects weren't worth mentioning in their eyes. Under the double pressure of this cultivation level and aura, Lin Dao and the rest couldn't take it anymore. They didn't know where the people of Tiantong City got their confidence from. Was it because these 4 elders were cauldron-filling state cultivators? It should be known that 7-star sects didn't lack cauldron-filling state grand elders. As for the supreme elders, they were all cauldron-filling state cultivators. Some of the vice sect masters and sect masters had even stepped into disaster transformation state. Wasn't Tiantong City afraid of the sects joining forces to destroy them? Good. Very good. Our Gu Xiaoyao will remember what happened today. Lin Dao sneered and instantly disappeared into the sky. His departure gave the elders of the other sects a way out. The powerful cultivators that filled the sky disappeared one after another. In the end, there wasn't even a trace of aura left in the sky. It was as if nothing had happened. The 4 7-star sects left. The 6-star sects also retreated from Tiantong City. More than 100,000 cultivators on the square let out a long sigh of relief when they found out that the great battle didn't happen. However, they were also a little disappointed. Qin Duo Air was also taken away by the disciples of the Celestial Gourd sect. Qin Fen didn't stop them. He knew that he couldn't stop them at all. Mu Feng had already stepped into the body condensation realm and could kill him at any time. Qin Fen didn't plan to ask the 4 elders of Tiantong City for help. Although the 4 of them did try their best to save his life, he didn't believe that they were really chivalrous. Ever since he stepped into the divine continent, Qin Fen understood the rules of survival in this continent. Everything depended on one's fist. Although he still couldn't figure out why the 4 elders saved him, Qin Fen guessed that there must be a purpose. He even suspected that Elder Tian Ming really had a system. Moreover, he also discovered that Qin Fen also had a system. That was why he protected Qin Fen's life. Could it be that he wanted to devour Qin Fen's system? Thinking of this, Qin Fen broke out in a cold sweat. He had long realized that the level of Elder Tian Ming's system was higher than his. If Elder Tian Ming really wanted to devour his system, Qin Fen was afraid that he wouldn't be able to resist. Chapter 1958. Thank you, seniors, for saving me. I will definitely repay you in the future. I still have important matters to attend to, so I will take my leave first. Qin Feng didn't want to stay in Tiantong City any longer. Compared to the 4 cauldron-filling state experts in front of him, he would rather fall into the hands of the elders of the big sections. Even if he couldn't defeat those elders, he could at least hide in the astral world. However, Elder Tian Ming in front of him, most likely had a system. He was afraid that even if he hid in the astral world, he would still be caught by the other party. Young hero Qiao, don't be in a hurry to leave. According to the usual practice of the number one genius, you have to stay in my Tiantong city as a guest. Tian Ming's voice sounded. Qin Feng had already left on his flying sword. He had long expected that Tian Ming would ask him to stay, and was even prepared to forcefully escape from Tiantong city. He planned to directly take out the soaring cloud all. At this time, there was no need to hide his trump card. However, before flying a few hundred meters, Qin Feng suddenly stopped in the sky. The system's warning kept ringing in his mind. Ding, system warning. A new system has appeared nearby. Ding, system warning. A new system has appeared nearby. The warning appeared 3 times in a row, which meant that 3 new systems had appeared nearby. Including Tian Ming's system, there were 4 system owners. At this time, in Tiantong City, the other sects and rogue cultivators had basically all left. Only Qin Feng and the 4 great elders of Tiantong City were left, floating in the middle of the square. Those 4 elders are all system users? When this thought appeared in his mind, Qin Feng's heart was in turmoil. Because of this, he dispelled the idea of forcefully escaping. The 4 of them had higher levels of systems than him. It was somewhat impossible to escape from them. Seeing Qin Feng suddenly stop in the sky, the 4 elders of Tiantong City looked at each other and nodded, as if they had seen through something. Young hero Qiao, don't worry. If we really wanted to attack you, how would you have the chance to escape? Tian Ming's voice was calm. Qin Feng sighed in his heart. This feeling of life and death being in the hands of others was not good. But he knew that Tian Ming was speaking the truth. Not to mention whether the other party had a system or not. Just the cultivation of the 4 cauldron filling state was not something that Qin Feng could resist. Then I will respectfully accept. Qin Feng flew back. The 4 of them did not make a move on him, and brought him to the depths of Tiantong City. Qin Feng quickly realized that the inn he stayed in before, and the plaza where the martial arts competition was held were only in the outer area of Tiantong City. Even the so-called central area of the city, that cost 1 million spirit stones to rest a night a few days ago, was not the real center of Tiantong City. Those were all open areas. Tian Ming and the other 3 brought Qin Feng to the real sky-connecting city. When they entered, they needed to pass through a secret formation and a level 7 teleportation formation. Qin Feng didn't know who had set up this level 7 king formation, but he could sense that this formation hadn't been set up for a long time. It was clearly not a formation left behind by an ancient almighty. It was said that the number 1 array formation master in the South Flat continent could only set up a level 6 grandmaster array. It seemed like this was not true. After passing through the teleportation array, Qin Feng immediately felt that the surrounding spirit qi had increased by several levels. The density of the spirit qi was not inferior to that of his astral world. This was obviously no longer within the boundaries of Tiantong City. Or rather, this was the real Tiantong City. No, this is the Maze Valley Mystic Realm. Not long after entering, Qin Feng's expression changed. He had already recognized this space. It was very similar to the Mystic Realm he had entered to participate in the Genius Assembly. He knew that this wasn't the Mystic Realm he had participated in, but it was connected to that region. It was just that the location was different. The feeling of being monitored rose again. Qin Feng was even more certain that this was the Maze Valley Mystic Realm. As such, he had many doubts in his heart. Wasn't the first segment of the Genius Assembly the Maze Valley Mystic Realm, a testing ground that had been passed down for thousands of years? How did it become the private territory of Tiantong City? This feeling of being monitored wasn't only felt by Qin Feng. All the participating cultivators had the same feeling. Then wouldn't the people of Tiantong City be spying on the martial skills and techniques that they had revealed during their fights? What were they trying to do? Before Qin Feng could figure it out, the 4 elders of Tiantong City had already landed on the tallest mountain peak. They didn't explain where this place was, nor did they mention anything about being monitored. It was as if they didn't know anything. Young hero Qiao, there is a teleportation array here. It can teleport you to a place 1,000 miles away from Tiantong City. The reason why we left you here is so that you can leave safely. Tianming said. During the Genius Assembly, Qin Feng had offended almost all the sects and forces in the South Flat Continent. He had even killed many genius disciples from 7-star sects and even elders. Now all the sects in the South Flat Continent were definitely working together to hunt him down. Not long ago, he was still worrying about how to leave safely. He didn't think that the elders of Tiantong City had already thought of a way out for him. However, the more kind the 4 elders were, the more Qin Feng feared them. There was no free lunch in this world. This was true on Earth, and it was even more true in the Divine Supreme Continent. Senior Tianming, let's not beat around the bush. What do the 4 seniors want me to do? Qin Feng couldn't take it anymore. This feeling of his life and death being in someone else's hands was driving him crazy. Young hero Qiao doesn't need to do anything. Tianming had a kind smile on his face. Are you sure you're going to let me go just like this? Qin Feng couldn't figure out what the other party was thinking. Do you think I would covet anything from you? Tianming smiled. Then I'm really leaving? Qin Feng maintained his vigilance. He was sure that the 4 Tiantong City elders in front of him were all system owners. Moreover, they were all in the cauldron-filling realm. In front of them, Qin Feng felt extremely helpless. Young hero Qiao, have you heard of the Divine Supreme Continent's 1,000-year tribulation? Just as Qin Feng was about to leave through the array on the mountain peak, Tianming's voice came from behind. I know. Then, you should also know that your breakthrough triggered a sure-kill lightning tribulation, right? I know. Qin Feng became nervous again. He didn't know what Tianming was trying to say. Every person who can trigger a sure-kill lightning tribulation is the Divine Supreme of the 1,000-year tribulation. Perhaps young hero Qiao doesn't know that the person who triggers the tribulation is also the person who triggers the tribulation. The tribulation was triggered by you, so you have to resolve it. You can't die. Qin Feng turned into a shadow and disappeared from the mountain peak. When he passed through the teleportation array, he seemed to understand why Tianming and the others let him go. Why did you let him go? As soon as Qin Feng left, one of the Tiantong City elders looked at the sky and asked. The kind smile on Tianming's face disappeared and was replaced by a crazed look. Ever since we received the system from the city lord, we've been looking for other system owners. However, those system owners are all very low level. Only this system owner named Qiao Feng barely caught our eye. Senior brother Tianming, you want to let him develop and wait until the time is right to swallow his system? Another grand elder asked. But that guy has already found out that we have systems. Senior brother Tianming, aren't you afraid that he'll hide from us forever? The first old man added. Tianming looked up to the sky and laughed. Haha, he did sense our system, but he doesn't have any ill intentions towards us. My last words were effective. Moreover, even if he wants to hide from us, how can he? I've already memorized the aura of his system. As long as the city lord returns, he can find that kid at any time. Chapter 1959. Qin Feng left Tiantong City. The formation teleported him to an unfamiliar, desolate mountain thousands of miles away. Just as Tianming had guessed, Qin Feng did not doubt him. He even treated him like a senior, like barefoot immortal. In the eyes of these seniors, the person undergoing the heavenly tribulation was related to the survival of the divine continent. As seniors, they had to protect the person undergoing the heavenly tribulation. Putting aside the matter of the Genius Conference and Tiantong City, Qin Feng was faced with a very serious problem. Almost all the sects in the South Flat Continent were after him. There was no place for him in the South Flat Continent anymore. Qin Feng immediately returned to his original appearance. This was what he had planned when he went on a killing spree in the Maze Valley secret territory. However, Qin Feng's original appearance was not completely safe in the South Flat Continent. He had used his original appearance when he was in the Xingquan workshop in Panshan Market. Thinking about his current situation, Qin Feng felt even more helpless. Once again, he had a strong urge to improve his cultivation. The divine supreme continent was a place where only the strong were respected. Here, everything depended on one's fist. If one was not strong enough, everyone would bully him. If one became a powerful expert, everyone would take a detour. Although he was eager to kill his way to the celestial gourd and take his sister away, Qin Fen knew that going to Gourd Island would be suicide. Let alone the celestial gourd sect master, Elder Mu Feng, who had stepped into the body condensation stage, was enough for him to deal with. Therefore, the most important thing for him now was to increase his cultivation level. He did not plan to leave the South Flat continent. The spiritual energy in this continent was denser than the North Sand continent. There were more opportunities than the North Sand continent, so he would be able to break through faster there. After deciding to explore, Qin Fen immediately thought of Ghost City and Green Island. Ghost City was one of the 8 most dangerous places in the South Flat continent. Qin Fen only knew about Ghost City after he obtained an Immortal Blossom Stone in the Pan Shan Market's goods exchange. According to Cui Cheng, the Immortal Blossom Stone was found by his father in Ghost City. It was an ordinary stone that existed in the immortal world, so there were many treasures in Ghost City. Later on, Yu Wanqiu told Qin Fen about the history of Spectre City. When Qin Fen killed off God's Finger told him another story about Spectre City. It was said that God's Finger's founder, Shen Zhuqing, had hidden the secret manual for the 9 Pulses divine sword in Spectre City. However, there were also rumors that an immortal artifact had appeared in Spectre City. As for Tsang Island, Qin Feng had obtained the treasure map from Aku. That woman was extremely mysterious. She immediately gifted him 3 rank 8 spiritual grasses. Moreover, that woman's flying sword was a best quality true artifact. It could be seen that her identity was definitely not ordinary. The treasure that this mysterious woman wanted to find naturally wouldn't be too bad. Qin Feng had decided that he would go to Grey Island to take a look when he had time. Qin Fen wanted to go to both Ghost City and Grey Island, but after thinking it over, he decided to go to Grey Island first. Firstly, Grey Island was located at the border of the South Flat State and was connected to the fallen God Sea. There weren't many sects there, so it was convenient for him to avoid being hunted down. Secondly, Ghost City was one of the 8 danger zones of the South Flat State. It was said that even body condensation stage and cauldron filling state experts would die there. Qin Fen was somewhat worried. Ant cultivator, you dare to escape as a cultivation vessel? Wait till I catch you. I'll teach you a lesson. After flying in the direction of Grey Island for half a month, Qin Fen suddenly heard an angry roar behind him. He immediately became vigilant. He originally thought that the other party wanted to rob his soaring cloud all, but after seeing the situation clearly, he realized that the other party was chasing another cultivator. As for the cultivator being chased, he was merely at level 5 Immortal Chi stage, and was fleeing on a pink flying sword. Along the way, Qin Fen didn't know how many such situations he had encountered. He couldn't even solve his own problems, so he didn't have the mood to care about the lives of others. Just as he was about to speed up and leave, Qin Fen saw the cultivator's face clearly. His expression changed drastically, and he turned the soaring cloud all in that direction. In the South Flat State, immortal artifact flying ships were extremely rare treasures. Flying ships like the soaring cloud all that were comparable to high-grade immortal artifacts were even rarer. When Qin Fen flew over, the 3 cultivators immediately stopped in their tracks. The 3 of them hovered in the air and stared at the rapidly approaching soaring cloud all. The cultivator who was escaping was also stunned and didn't know whether he should continue running or not. Who are you? That human has already been bought by us in the 80-mile city as a cultivation vessel. You'd better mind your own business. One of the 3 cultivators spoke. For some reason, when he mentioned the 80-mile city, his tone was clearly more confident. Qin Fen didn't know what the 80-mile city was, nor did he know what a cultivation vessel was. However, he was sure that he didn't recognize the wrong person. The man being chased was his adoptive father, Qin Huang. When I was young, you were chased out of the capital's Qin clan and brought me to the East Sea to fight for a place. Back then, I was unruly, and you protected me. Now we met again. You were chased from the South Flat State all the way to the sea, and I was fortunate to meet you. At that time, I had just become the #1 genius of the South Flat State, and it was me who protected you." The moment he recognized Qin Huang, 2 drops of hot tears rolled down his cheeks. Who said that men didn't cry? It was only because they hadn't fallen in love yet. "Dad!" Qin Fan hurriedly rushed out of the soaring cloud all and landed beside Qin Huang. After calling out his father's name, he felt extremely happy. When Qin Huang came back to his senses, he immediately wanted to escape. If he fell into the hands of those 3 men, he would rather die than live. However, before he could fly away, he was stunned on the spot by someone calling him Dad. No one in the Divine Supreme Continent had ever called him father. At this moment, he felt like he had returned to the familiar and beloved earth. "Fonga? Is that really you, Fonga?" Qin Huang cried tears of joy when he saw Qin Fan standing less than 1 meter away from him. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. It was like a dream. Qin Huang wasn't the only one who felt it was unreal. When Qin Fan saw him, he also felt like he was dreaming. However, when he saw Qin Huang at such a close distance, heard his real voice, and smelled his scent, Qin Fan knew that this wasn't a dream. It was the same as when he saw his sister not long ago. "Brat, I don't care what relationship you have with this person. He is now my cauldron. If you want to live, throw down the storage ring and get lost." Just as the 2 of them were feeling emotional, a cold voice came from not far away. Qin Fan didn't want to get involved in this matter, and he didn't even look at the opponent's cultivation. When he looked over, he found that there were only 3 true spirit realm cultivators chasing after him. The highest cultivation was only True Spirit Realm 7, and the lowest was True Spirit Realm 2. For Qin Fan, who had killed Void God Realm, and even late Void God Realm cultivators, True Spirit Realm cultivators were no longer a threat to him. As he was about to kill the 3 of them, his divine sense detected something strange. The aura of these 3 people should be at the True Spirit Realm, but it was a little different. "Qin Feng, it's great to be able to see you again. Hurry and run. These 3 aren't humans at all. They're Yao cultivators who ate the form transformation pill. I've already fallen into their hands and become their cauldron. You can't end up like me." After the pleasant surprise, Qin Huang suddenly came to his senses. He pushed Qin Fan with a panicked expression, trying to chase him away. Qin Fan suddenly understood. No wonder the 3 of them felt different when his divine sense scanned them. They weren't humans, but beasts in human form. Although it was Qin Fan's first time meeting a shape-shifting beast cultivator, he had heard about shape-shifting beast cultivators when he was exploring the Fallen God Sea in the North Sand continent. Moreover, according to Senior Barefoot Enlightened Being, the Beast Clan's calamity on the Divine Mainland 1,000 years ago was caused by shape-shifting beast cultivators leading the Beast Clan. Aside from the 4 great continents on the Divine Continent, there was also the vast Fallen God Sea. It was said that the Fallen God Sea was boundless, even bigger than the 4 great continents combined. As for the demonic cultivators, they basically lived on the islands near the Godfall Sea. They rarely stepped into the 4 continents. As for the human cultivators, they rarely went to the islands inhabited by the demonic cultivators. This seemed to be an unwritten rule. Qin Fan immediately realized that he was close to the Green Island, because the Green Island was near the islands on the outskirts of the Fallen God Sea. This place used to belong to the Beast Clan. He had no idea why Senior Aka hid the treasure in a place like this. But now was not the time to think about the treasure map. Qin Fan smiled at Qin Huang and said, "Dad, you don't need to worry about me. Those 3 ants can't do anything to me." Qin Fan returned to his original appearance after leaving Tiantong City. In order to avoid being hunted down, he purposely showed his cultivation level to be at the early stage of True Spirit. With Qin Huang's cultivation level, he couldn't see through Qin Fan's cultivation level, but the 3 Beast Clan cultivators could see it clearly. A mere level 3 True Spirit ant like human dares to speak arrogantly in the Green Island. "Don't think that we can't kill you. We're just too lazy to waste time. I'll give you one last chance to live. Hand over the storage ring and scram, or else you'll die. Why are you still talking nonsense with him? Just kill him." The three Beast Clan cultivators didn't put Qin Fun in their eyes. Just like one of them said, they saw that Qin Fun was at the true spirit realm, so they were too lazy to fight with him. But if Qin Fun didn't know what was good for him, they would teach this reckless human a lesson. When he heard that Qin Fun was at the true spirit realm, Qin Huang revealed a shocked expression. But he quickly came to his senses and pushed Qin Fun in panic. Fong! Or leave quickly. Those three beasts are all at the true spirit realm. You can't defeat them by yourself. Who are you calling a beast? See if I don't hack you to death. One of the Beast Clan cultivators was enraged. He slashed down with his long blade, and a resplendent golden light shot over. This blade exploded with ferocious true essence, as if space itself was falling. Qin Fun raised his eyebrows and looked at the sky. He discovered that the Beast Clan cultivators were much stronger than the human cultivators of the same level. Feng run quickly. Qin Huang already felt death approaching. With his cultivation level of Immortal Qi Stage 5, he had no way of fighting back against a revered true spirit's sure-kill attack. He didn't even hope for his own survival. He only hoped that Qin Fun could dodge the attack and escape this place. P.S. Dear book friends, Happy New Year! Family reunion! Chapter 1960. The father and son had just reunited, but they were about to die tragically in a foreign land. This feeling made Qin Emperor feel hopeless. Rumble! At this moment Qin Emperor heard a loud noise. He looked up into the sky instinctively, and a shocked expression appeared on his face. Qin Fun had unknowingly slashed down with his sword. The sword brought with it a silver sword light. The sword light was so thin that it was hard to notice, but it expanded into a rainbow as it soared into the sky. The ferocious saber energy of the opponent was instantly shattered by the rainbow sword light, as if it was as easy as cutting a piece of tofu. An explosion occurred. Qin Fun struck out with a simple sword strike, and the beast cultivator of level 2 of the true spirit realm exploded into dust. The smell of blood was mixed in the wind, and it brought along a strange energy. Qin Emperor didn't expect Qin Fun to be so powerful. His opponent was a beast cultivator of level 2 of the true spirit realm, but he couldn't even withstand a single strike from Qin Fun. The remaining two beast cultivators were shocked. They knew that their comrade's cultivation level was lower than Qin Fun's by a small level, but the body of a beast cultivator was naturally stronger than that of a human, and their strength was ferocious. In a battle of the same level, a beast cultivator was invincible, and it was normal for a beast cultivator to kill a human cultivator of a higher level. You dared to kill Boji? This is the Green Island. You dared to kill a beast cultivator here? One of them was still in a daze. The other beast cultivator of level 2 of the true spirit realm attacked directly. He took out a magic treasure in the shape of a triangular awl. The magic treasure shot out a red glow as soon as it was taken out. The red glow was densely packed, and it looked like both sword energy and saber energy, bringing with it a ferocious murderous intent. Qin Fun wanted to retreat when he saw the red glow, and he couldn't help but sigh at the strength of the beast cultivators. His opponent was only a beast cultivator of level 2 of the true spirit realm. If he encountered a beast cultivator of level 2 of the empty god realm, he didn't know if he could kill him, but he was only distracted for a moment, and Qin Fun immediately swung his sword. The Zhenyi sword shot up into the sky with a silver glow, and when it collided with the red glow, a loud sound of metal colliding rang out. The red glow looked unstoppable, but it dissipated quickly under the attack of the sword energy, vanishing without a trace. How is this possible? The late-stage true spirit beast cultivator was stunned. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a loud explosion from his body, and his tattered clothes fell onto a giant rock. The remaining middle-stage true spirit beast cultivator immediately ran away. After flying 100 meters, he suddenly stopped and revealed a look of disbelief in his eyes. His divine sense had actually been attacked. That early-stage true spirit human cultivator could actually use a divine sense attack? Voila! Before the demonic cultivator could figure out what was going on, a ball of dark blue flame burned fiercely on his body. If one looked closely, the blue flame was in the shape of a blooming sunflower, floating in the sky. It was a magnificent sight. Nobody could appreciate this magnificent scene. The Qin Emperor, the only witness, had his eyes wide open and his mouth agape. He wasn't in the mood to look at the spiritual sunflower flame. He was wondering if all this was a dream. Dad, where did Grandpa go? To Qin Fun, it was as if nothing had happened after he killed the 3 demonic cultivators of the real spirit realm. He didn't even bother to collect the storage rings of the 3 demonic cultivators and returned to the side of Qin Emperor. Ah, by the way, your grandpa is still in the 80-kilometer city. He was captured by the demonic cultivators to be sold as a human cauldron. Let's go and save him. Qin Emperor suddenly came to his senses. Grandpa was sold as a human cauldron? What is going on? Qin Fan furrowed his eyebrows. Qin Emperor said quickly, your grandpa, your younger sister and I were teleported here. Not long after we arrived, an elder of the Celestial Gourd sect took a fancy to Duo Air's talent and forcefully took her back to cultivate. Your grandpa and I searched everywhere for you, and we came to the Green Island without a clue. Later, we found out that this was the territory of the demonic cultivators. But it was too late to leave. Your grandpa and I were captured by the demonic cultivators to be sold as human cauldrons for other demonic cultivators to cultivate. I was bought by those 3 demonic cultivators, and I escaped when they weren't paying attention. I didn't expect to meet you here. Qin Emperor told Qin Fan what he had experienced quickly. Qin Fan grew anxious after hearing the story, and he asked Qin Emperor to lead the way to the 80-kilometer city. On the flying cloud cone, Qin Emperor told Qin Fan about the situation of the 80-kilometer city and the Green Island. The Green Island was huge, and it was divided into 3 areas. The 3 islands of the North Ring, the Nanming Palace, and the East Dragon Palace. It was said that these 3 areas were occupied by the demonic cultivators and were guarded by the demon kings. The 80-kilometer city was actually a city 80 kilometers away from the Green Island, and it was the symbol of entering the Green Island. Regular human cultivators would stop at the 80-kilometer city, and they wouldn't enter the territory of the Green Island. The 80-kilometer city wasn't the territory of the demonic cultivators. It was a public city where human cultivators, demonic cultivators, ghost cultivators and demonic cultivators could all meet. It was a dangerous place with all kinds of people mixed together. But it was also because of the gathering of all kinds of races that the 80-kilometer city was quite famous in the South Pingzhou state, because many rare treasures and materials could be bought there. Qin Fan put away the flying cloud cone in a valley outside the 80-kilometer city. This top-tier true-grade flying artifact was too eye-catching, and it would attract unnecessary trouble. Besides, he had used the flying cloud cone when he appeared as Qiaofeng. If someone found out, his identity would be exposed. The 2 of them stepped on their flying swords and rushed towards the 80-kilometer city. Qin Fan didn't take out his true-grade flying sword, but a golden-grade flying sword, which was in line with his early-stage true spirit cultivation. When they were still a few hundred meters away, Qin Fan saw a towering city gate. On the city gate, the words 80-kilometer city were carved. The 80-kilometer city was much simpler than Qin Fan imagined. There was only one city gate, and there wasn't even a city wall around it. But when Qin Fan got closer, he realized something. Although there wasn't a city wall to protect it, the 80-kilometer city was surrounded by a defensive formation. The faint fluctuation of the formation was hard to detect, and Qin Fan couldn't even see what kind of formation it was. But from the ancient aura of the formation, he could tell that it was a great formation passed down from ancient times. There weren't any guards at the city gate, and many cultivators casually came in and out. Qin Fan noticed 4 demonic cultivators among the people passing by. The more he interacted with the demonic cultivators, the clearer he could feel the unique aura of the demonic cultivators. It was just like the first time he met the 3 demonic cultivators who chased after Qin Huang. Just at the entrance of the city, the 2 sides of the Bluestone Street were filled with stalls. The stalls were selling a dazzling array of items, weapons, pills, materials, and so on. Qin Fan had been to many market squares and cities, but he had never seen such a bustling shopping street like the 80-kilometer city. This city seemed to be born for trading. Shops of all sizes could be seen everywhere, and the cultivators walking on the street were basically choosing items. What surprised Qinfen even more was that the stalls here were selling many items that even he didn't have. For example, some spirit grasses that could only grow in the fallen god sea, and materials like crystal stones from the sea. Chapter 1961. Qinfen was attracted by some of the items sold at the stalls, but he was worried about his grandfather, so he didn't have the time to look carefully. Under Qin Huang's lead, the two of them came to a store called Dominating Heaven Human Cauldron. The store was quite big, taking up thousands of square meters. It had 3 floors, and in the corner of the hall on the first floor, there were dozens of iron cages. They didn't only contain human cultivators, but also demonic cultivators and demonic beasts. Qinfen even saw a few powerful spirits. Those spirits all had green eyes, just like the spirits he saw in the level 9 soul nurturing array on the 8th floor of the 13 palaces. It was Qinfen's first time seeing such a scene. He didn't expect that some cultivators would be locked up like livestock, and then wait for the fate of being bought by others. To put it bluntly, these cultivation furnaces were like spirit stones, provided to others for cultivation. 2 balls of fire burned in Qinfen's eyes. He didn't dare to continue looking, afraid that in the next second, he would see his grandfather curled up in one of the iron cages with disheveled hair. After looking through the dozens of iron cages on the first floor, Qinfen heaved a sigh of relief. His grandfather wasn't in one of these cages, but he immediately felt worried. Could it be that his grandfather had already been bought by someone? Where's the old man who came with me? Qin Huang also noticed the situation, and immediately pulled a shop assistant beside him to ask. Back then, he and Qin Shitian were locked up in the iron cages on the first floor. As for the second and third floors, they were used to lock up the better human cauldrons. Now that he couldn't find Qin Shitian on the first floor, how could Qin Huang not be worried? The shop assistant was already in a bad mood when he was stopped. When he saw Qin Huang, he immediately recognized that he was the human furnace that had just been bought this morning. He immediately yelled angrily, "Good fellow, you dared to escape and come back to the trading company. You are seeking death." As a human cauldron, his status was extremely low, even lower than those ordinary mortals who couldn't cultivate. Mortals could at least live freely in mortal cities, but human cauldrons had to follow their masters and sacrifice themselves to provide for their master's cultivation. As the shop assistant spoke, he reached out to grab Qin Huang. Qin Huang was only at the 5th level of immortal energy, but the shop assistant was already at the early stage of Saint King, so he didn't care about Qin Huang at all. But before he could grab Qin Huang, his wrist was grabbed by someone else. It was as if a huge force was poured into his wrist, causing the shop assistant to grimace in pain. "Ouch! It hurts! Hurry up and let go. This is the Dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company. You're not allowed to cause trouble here." Qinfen had come to find his grandfather. He still needed to ask the waiter about the situation, so he didn't crush him to death. "Where's the old man who came with him?" Qinfen's expression was ice cold. At this time, the shop assistant went to check Qinfen's cultivation, but found that he couldn't see through it at all. His back was covered in cold sweat, and he immediately smiled. "Hee, don't worry, senior. That old man is still in the shop. But someone took a fancy to him in the morning, and said that he would come to buy him in the afternoon. So our trading company temporarily locked him up, and settled him in the VIP room." Although the waiter changed his words very quickly, it still couldn't escape Qinfen's ears. Qinfen realized that his grandfather was most likely locked up in a small, damp room, and was instantly enraged. "Cut the crap. Take me to see that old man immediately." Qinfen's burst of true essence almost made the waiter dizzy. The waiter realized that Qinfen was even more powerful than he imagined, and he immediately trembled in fear. He wanted to find the trading company's elder to back him up, but he was afraid that before he could call the elder, he would die first. "Senior, calm down, calm down. This lowly one will take you there now. You must not kill this lowly one." The waiter immediately led the way. When they reached the side door of the trading company, He secretly gave another waiter a meaningful glance. That waiter was also at the Saint King realm, so he didn't dare to offend Qin Feng's dignity. In his heart, he planned to secretly inform the elder after Qin Feng left. These small glances naturally couldn't escape Qin Feng's eyes, but he pretended not to see them. He also knew that forcibly taking someone away from the trading company was a very difficult matter, and it would definitely alarm the trading company's upper echelons. But this time, the person he wanted to save was his grandfather, Qin Shitian. Even if there were tens of thousands of people blocking his way, Qin Feng would still kill his way out. The waiter brought the two to a small compartment in the inner room. The room was very small, only 3 or 4 square meters. It should be a grocery room. There was an iron cage thrown in the narrow and messy room, and a person was curled up in the cage. His clothes were tattered, and his hair was messy. Even his appearance couldn't be seen clearly. But Qin Feng and Qin Huang immediately recognized the person imprisoned. It was undoubtedly Qin Shitian. At this moment, Qin Feng's eyes were blood red, and his fists were clenched so tightly that cracking sounds could be heard. In his mind, his grandfather appeared in the land of Huaxia in a white tang suit, and his appearance was full of metal. At that time, his grandfather was one of the 9 dragons, and his status was high and mighty. But now, he had fallen into such a dire situation. "My son, why have you come back? Don't worry about me. Hurry up and leave this place. The further the better." Qin Shitian used his hand to cover his eyes. He wasn't used to the light coming in from outside. His tone was filled with panic and fear. Clearly, he was extremely afraid of this place, or rather, he was extremely terrified of becoming a furnace. But before Qin Huang could say anything, Qin Shitian's gaze fell on Qin Feng. His old eyes immediately widened, and they shot out a light of surprise and joy. "Feng? I actually saw Feng. Are my eyes playing tricks on me? Or is it because I miss Feng? Or so much that I'm hallucinating?" Qin Shitian and Qin Huang had the same reaction when they first saw Qin Feng. Qin Huang said with tears in his eyes, "Dad, Feng really came. He's already a true spirit realm expert. He didn't disappoint me and your expectations." A generation reunited in a different world. That kind of emotion was indescribable. Not only was there joy and excitement, but there were also many unspeakable sorrows and frustrations. When Qin Feng was about to call the shop assistant to open the chains, he discovered that the shop assistant had already disappeared. He was too lazy to chase after the shop assistant, so he casually used a wind blade to cut the iron cage open. Qin Shitian was supported by the two of them. When he saw the sunlight outside again, he even felt like he was dreaming. "That's not right. My son, weren't you also bought by someone? How did you meet Feng?" Qin Shitian had a blank expression. Qin Huang quickly said, "Dad, this isn't the place to talk. Let's escape from the city first." You want to run away as a furnace? You're simply courting death." Before the 3 of them could leave, an old voice traveled into their ears from afar. Before that voice could even finish speaking, a black shadow floated outside the door. The silhouette was like mist and light at the same time. Clearly, it was a sign that he had stepped into the Nihility God realm. When Qin Feng used his divine sense to scan the surroundings, he knew that this person was a level 3 Nihility God realm beast cultivator. He summoned his 3 clones, and they were guarding the exits. The appearance of a void god realm expert made Qin Huang and Qin Shitian feel despair. In front of this kind of expert, they weren't even considered as ants. "Feng or your grandfather and I can't get out. Run by yourself. To be able to see Feng or one last time before I die. This bag of old bones can die without regrets. Within the city, killing for no reason is not allowed. Feng or don't be afraid of them. You're not a furnace. You're a free person in this city. After you get out, remember to find your younger sister, Qin Duo." In the eyes of Qin Shitian and Qin Huang, Qin Feng wasn't a match for the void god realm beast cultivator. However, Qin Feng didn't put the old man in front of him in his eyes at all. He even searched a larger area to see if there were any stronger people. After a while, a large group of trading company disciples rushed over. However, there was no higher realm beast cultivator. Qin Feng quickly understood that he was only at True Spirit Realm 3. The other party sent out a Void God Realm Elder, because they thought he was dead. It was just a Void God Realm, so Qin Feng didn't give them any face. He roared at the crowd. "Get out of the way or I'll kill you." The corridor suddenly became silent, and the atmosphere was very strange. Not to mention the Void God Realm Elder floating in the air. Just the dozen or so disciples that rushed over filled the corridor. There were a few mid and late stage True Spirit Realm experts among them. Under such a powerful formation, Qin Feng wasn't scared to the point of kneeling down and begging for mercy. Instead, he actually dared to speak so arrogantly. "You really don't know what's good for you. Laozi wants to see how you're going to kill me." The aura of the beast cultivator in the air suddenly increased. A gust of wind blew, but he still didn't make a move. It was unknown what he was waiting for. Qin Feng immediately retracted his true essence aura. He suddenly realized that the 80-mile city was similar to Tiantong City. He couldn't take the initiative to cause trouble. Whoever made the first move would definitely die a terrible death. "You don't need to pretend. It won't be that easy for me to make a move. I want this old man. Name a price." Qin Feng quickly regained his calm. The Void God Realm Beast Cultivator held back his anger, but he couldn't explode. He coldly stared at Qin Feng and said, "That cauldron has already been reserved. How much deposit did they pay?" "I'll pay double." Qin Feng was very generous. The Void God Realm Beast Cultivator didn't know the specifics. This kind of small matter wasn't in his jurisdiction. The shop assistant who led Qin Feng and Qin Huang here said, "Elder Ji, the guest didn't pay a deposit. He's our old customer, Elder Mu He of the Celestial Gourd sect." Hearing the word Celestial Gourd, a murderous look flashed in Qin Feng's eyes. He hated the Celestial Gourd sect the most. They didn't let go of Qin Duo Air, and used her as bait to force him to give in. The Void God Realm Beast Cultivator's eyes flashed. His aura suddenly disappeared. He looked at Qin Feng with a playful expression and said, "Little ant, are you sure you want to buy that cauldron?" Qin Feng could see through the Beast Cultivator's thoughts at a glance, but he didn't care. "No matter what, I have to take him away today." Seeing Qin Feng's unyielding attitude, the Void God Realm Beast Cultivator smiled even wider. "Very well. Then you have to pay 1,000,000 upper-grade spirit stones as a deposit first. Otherwise there's no need to talk." 1,000,000 spirit stones was definitely not a small amount for an ordinary cultivator. Besides, Qin Shitian was only a cauldron of the early stage of Saint King. This kind of cauldron was the lowest level. It would be good if he could sell it for 100,000 spirit stones. The Void God Realm Beast Cultivator purposely quoted a high price. He wasn't afraid that Qin Feng wouldn't buy it. Chapter 1962. 1,000,000 high-grade spirit stones? Why don't you just rob someone? Qin Huang said angrily. Qin Shitian immediately said, "I'm just an early-stage Saint King. A furnace of this level can only be sold for 100,000 spirit stones at most. You're raising the price." The Hollow God Realm Beast Cultivator was enraged. "What qualifications do you two furnaces have to question my words? If you dare to speak out of turn, I'll slap you to death." Qin Feng was also angry. He wanted nothing more than to kill the demonic cultivator in the air. However, he forced himself to calm down. Standing in front of his father and grandfather, he said, "There are 1,000,000 upper spirit stones here. Can I take them away now?" 1,000,000 spirit stones was nothing to Qin Feng. Moreover, it was to save his grandfather's life. Even if it was 100 million spirit stones, he would hand it over without blinking. Kirio was stunned. He didn't expect Qin Feng to be so rich. 1,000,000 spirit stones was like 100 spirit stones. He thought Qin Feng would bargain. He didn't expect Qin Feng to throw the storage ring at him without even blinking. At this moment, Kirio didn't even dare to use his divine sense to scan the storage ring. He was deeply afraid that there was a trap in the ring. "Ha ha ha. Elder Kirio, how have you been?" At this time, laughter came from outside. When Kirio heard that voice, he immediately revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. He ignored Qin Feng and the others and flew to the hall on the first floor. The disciples who had followed Qin Huang and Qin Shitian all followed him, and the passageway became empty. Before Qin Huang and Qin Shitian could figure out what was going on, Qin Fen used his spiritual awareness to detect two men wearing the gored clothing standing in the middle of the hall. Why did they leave? Feng Dad, let's take this chance to escape. Qin Huang and Qin Shitian looked at each other and nodded. Qin Feng was already walking towards the hall on the first floor. We don't need to escape. We'll walk out of the hall openly. The two were puzzled, but seeing Qin Feng disappear at the end of the corridor, they could only follow. Haha, Elder Mu is too polite. You are an esteemed guest of our dominating Heaven Furnace Merchant Company. It is my fault for not going out to meet you. Kirito forced a smile on his face. It was as if he was a completely different person from how he treated Qin Fen's group of three coldly. Elder Ji is a busy person. I don't want to disturb you. Oh right, I'm here to buy a batch of furnaces. I've already ordered them this morning. I hope Elder Ji can help me bring them out. Muhi got down to business. Kirito had already felt Qin Fen's aura, and knew that he had come to the hall. There was an imperceptible smile in his eyes as he sent a sound transmission to Mu He. Elder Mu, an early-stage true spirit ant, has taken a fancy to your cultivation furnace. So I've swindled him of 1 million down payment. We'll split the spirit stones evenly, and you can help me drive him away. How about it? As a hollow god realm cultivator, only cultivators of the same realm could hear his voice. He didn't think that Qin Fen could hear his conversation with Mu He. However, Qin Fen heard everything clearly. Elder Qin. Mu He's words. Mu He'd say. Mu. Will Elder Ji keep his word? Kirian winked at him. Don't worry, Elder Mu. We are old friends. Would I trick you? Then it's a deal. Where is that ant? Let me teach him a lesson. The two of them quickly came to an agreement. Kirian was very excited. He did not have to do anything, and he could get 500,000 high-grade spirit stones. This kind of deal was profitable. Cough cough. That true spirit cultivator, come over here for a moment. Kirito's gaze landed on Qin Fen with a playful smile. Qin Feng heard every word of their conversation. Qin Feng laughed inwardly. There had been too many people who wanted to trick him. But in the end, they were all tricked by him. Why is Elder Ji looking for me? Can I take them away now? Qin Feng acted as if he didn't know anything. The corners of Kirito's mouth curled up. You can take her away, but you have to seek Elder Mu's opinion. After all, Elder Mu took a fancy to that cultivation furnace first. You're snatching her away midway. As soon as he finished speaking, Mu He immediately stood out with a cold expression. This cooperation was very good. You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. You want to snatch the cultivation furnace from me? Which sector are you from? Do you recognize the symbol on my clothes? Seeing that Qin Feng was a human cultivator, Mu He did not care about him at all. As a small elder of one of the few 6-star sects in the South Plateau state, he believed that his name could scare off Qin Feng. Qin Huang and Qin Shitian had never heard of immortal gourds before, but they could feel that Mu He's aura was as dense and mysterious as Kirian's. He was clearly a void god realm master. Two void gods suddenly appeared to oppose Qin Feng. Despair rose in the two of them again. I'm just an itinerant cultivator. I don't belong to a sect. Qin Feng's expression was calm. Mu He laughed loudly. Haha, so you're an itinerant cultivator. Hurry up and scram. Qin Feng also laughed. What ability do you have to look down on itinerant cultivators? Wasn't the #1 of the Genius Conference not long ago a itinerant cultivator? Now that Xiao Feng's name was known throughout the South Plateau state, it definitely helped the itinerant cultivators vent their anger. They had always been suppressed and bullied by sect disciples in the South Plateau state, and they had to swallow their anger. Now, if there were sects bullying them, the itinerant cultivators would use Xiao Feng's name to refute. Don't mention that bastard Xiao to me. Right now, all the sects in the South Plateau state are hunting him down. That brat is like a coward and doesn't dare to show his face. What's there to show off? Mu He said angrily. If that guy dares to stand in front of me, I can crush him to death with one hand. Qin Shitian and Qin Huang were stunned and looked at Qin Feng in disbelief. They knew that Qin Feng had another identity as Xiao Feng, Could the number one genius of the South Plateau State, that Muhi mentioned, be Qin Feng? Really? I heard that young hero Qiao can even kill a genius disciple of a 7-star sect. He even killed a peak Void God Realm Grand Elder of the Immortal Gourd. You're only at the mid-stage Void God Realm. Can you defeat young hero Qiao? Qin Feng touched Muhi's sore spot, making him so angry that he was on the verge of exploding. However, before he could say anything, Qin Feng continued, "Oh right. You asked me which sect you're from, but I really can't tell. Why don't you tell me?" When it came to arguing, Qin Feng had never lost. Muhi's face turned green, and his body trembled. His mouth opened and closed, but he couldn't say a word. "How dare you? We're cultivators from the 6-star sect, the Immortal Gourd. This is young Elder Muhi of the Immortal Gourd. Watch what you say." The white-robed disciple standing next to Muhi scolded. Qin Feng revealed a look of sudden realization. "Oh, so you're from the Immortal Gourd. Didn't your sect lose a Grand Elder? Why are you still in the mood to stroll around outside?" Muhi's eyes rolled back, and he almost fainted from anger. "You ant, you're courting death." The white-robed disciple waved his hand and threw out a flying sword. The surrounding air was instantly enveloped by the sword light, and the temperature plummeted. However, before the sword light could land on Qin Feng's body, Kirio casually waved his hand, and the sword light scattered. "Elder Mu, this is the 80-kilometer city. It's not good to make a move here." Kirio stared at the white-robed disciple with a reproachful look. Muhi calmed down and scolded the disciple. "Why are you still here? Who allowed you to make a move?" Mu Jingyi lowered his head and retreated behind Muhi. He stared at Qin Feng coldly. He thought that if it wasn't for the rules of the 80-kilometer city, Qin Feng would have already died under his sword. Qin Feng felt that Mu Jingyi was somewhat familiar. Back at the square of Tiantong City, this person was standing with the Immortal Gourd Sex group, and he seemed to be Qin Duo's big senior brother. However, the way he looked at Qin Duo was somewhat strange. "Elder Mu, let's get down to business," Kirio reminded him. From his point of view, it was unwise to make a move on Qin Feng within the 80-kilometer city. However, it was still easy to make a move on this ant. "Brat, I've been eyeing that cultivation furnace for a long time. If you dare to snatch it from me, you've broken the rules of the 80-kilometer city. If you don't leave now, don't blame me for making a move on you." Muhi found an excuse to make a move. Although the 80-kilometer city couldn't kill for no reason, it could still make a move if it was reasonable. Qin Feng sneered. "Ha! What right do you have to say that the old man is yours? Did you pay for it?" Muhi choked. Mu Jingyi shouted. "Our elder Muhi is a frequent customer of this business. Since he said he wanted that cultivation furnace, then that cultivation furnace belongs to Elder Muhi." That Elder Muhi is really impressive. If he said that all the women in the 80-kilometer city were his, then would all the women have to serve him? Qin Feng sneered. Mu Jingyi rolled his eyes. You're twisting words and forcing logic." Qin Feng's tone turned cold. "I'm not twisting words and forcing logic. I'm just being reasonable. Not long ago, I paid Elder G 1,000,000 spirit stones as a deposit, but all you guys said is a promise. It's obvious who the real buyer is. If you don't leave now, I'm really going to make a move." Mu He and the other two were so angry that they blew their beards and glared at Qin Feng. They were the ones who wanted to bully Qin Feng. But this brat changed the whole situation with just a few words. Mu He looked at Kirio and waited for his decision. However, Kirio looked like he was in a difficult position. It was obvious that Qin Feng had accepted the 1,000,000 high-grade spirit stones from Qin Feng. "Elder G, what are you doing?" Mu He was a little angry. He felt like he was being used as a pawn by Kirio. "Elder Mu, don't be anxious. That brat is digging a trap for us. We can't fall into his trap." After saying that, he threw a storage ring to Qin Feng and said, "I'll return the spirit stones to you, but I won't sell that cultivation furnace. Now that you deliberately disturbed the order of the 80-kilometer city, I'm going to ask the guards of the city to come and arrest you." Qin Shitian and Qin Huang were instantly anxious. They had seen some people who caused trouble in the 80-kilometer city, and they all ended tragically. However, Qin Feng's expression was indifferent, and he didn't look worried at all. Is your big business playing house with me? You took my deposit, but you easily reneged on the deal between us. Hurry up and call the guards of the city over. I'm going to ask them to judge this. Chapter 1963. Qin Feng was someone who wouldn't be swayed by force or persuasion. No matter how Kirio and the others tried to scare him or persuade him to leave, it had no effect. Kirio didn't dare to call for the guards anymore. He thought about what had happened and realized that Qin Feng was indeed in the right. Only now did Kirio realize that he had been tricked. The reason why Qin Feng took out a deposit of 1 million without hesitation was because he was waiting for this moment. Elder Kirio, my time is very precious. Since you've taken my money, hurry up and give me the person. Otherwise, I'll call for the guards to uphold justice. Qin Feng realized that Kirio was afraid of the guards and used this to force him to give in. Kirio didn't know what to do and looked at Mu He with an inquiring gaze. Mu He had a stomach full of anger and had nowhere to vent it. He almost cursed at Kirio. I saw that furnace first. If I give it to that kid, where will my face be? Where will the prestige of the celestial gourd be? Mu He didn't back down. Kirio could only force a smile and look at Qin Feng. Young hero, I'll return the 1 million deposit to you. Our dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company has many furnaces for sale. How about I recommend them to you personally? Qin Feng's expression was resolute. Cut the crap. I only want that old man. Hurry up and handle the procedures. I'm leaving. Kirio was furious. A mere early-stage true spirit cultivator dared to not know how to appreciate favors. If they weren't in the city, he would have slapped Qin Feng to death. I'll give you 1,100,000 spirit stones. The extra 100,000 can be considered compensation. Are you satisfied now? Kirio's expression turned cold. He didn't get any money and had to pay 100,000 spirit stones. How could he not be angry? However, Kirio laughed in his heart. If Qin Feng dared to take back the deposit, he would punish him with the crime of maliciously obstructing a transaction. Let's see if this grandson can still be so arrogant then. But just as this thought appeared, Qin Feng firmly rejected it. Are you deaf? I'll say it one last time. I must take this person away. It doesn't matter how many spirit stones you pay. Kirian was so angry that he almost couldn't control himself from attacking Mafa. Mu He and Mu Zheng had cold expressions on their faces. As disciples of the South Flat Continent's 6-star sect, the Immortal Gourd sect, very few human cultivators dared to disrespect them. Moreover, the other party was a nameless itinerant cultivator. Since when were the itinerant cultivators of the South Flat Continent so arrogant? Elder Mu, why don't you just let him have that furnace? In any case, you've already ordered 30 furnaces, so one more won't make a difference. Kirito was at his wit's end. Mu He yelled coldly. This isn't about a cauldron, it's about the celestial gourd and my reputation. Qin Feng didn't think that the disciples of the celestial gourd sect had any face in front of him. If he wasn't in the 80-kilometer city, he wouldn't have bothered talking to Mu He and the other two. He would have killed them already. However, Qin Feng's curiosity was piqued when he heard that Mu He wanted 30 human cauldrons. Cultivating with human cauldrons was usually done by demonic and demonic cultivators, and some ghost cultivators would do the same. However, it was extremely rare for human cultivators. The Celestial Gourd was a famous 6-star righteous sect in the South Flat Continent. Why would they collect human cauldrons? Judging from Qin Shirtian's cultivation, Mu He's batch of human cauldrons wasn't of a high level. Human cauldrons of this level couldn't be used for the cultivation of the sect's disciples. Since they could join a 6-star sect, they were all talented cultivators. They could easily reach the Buddha light and true spirit realm with their own efforts. Why would they use human cauldrons of the Sage King realm to break through? Qin Feng suddenly thought of the Thousand Insect Valley. He had fallen into the Celestial Gourd sect from the bottom of the Thousand Lotus Lake, in the Thousand Insect Valley. Now that he thought about Mu He's actions of buying human cauldrons, he had a bold conjecture. Could it be that the Thousand Insect Valley was the place where the Celestial Gourd sect kept the spirit insects? Mu He was collecting human cauldrons for the evolution of the spirit insects. This idea was plausible, but there were many things that didn't make sense. If the Thousand Insect Valley was really a place built by the Celestial Gourd sect to raise spirit insects, why would they openly allow other cultivators to explore? Wouldn't that expose the sect's secret of raising spirit insects? Before Qinfen could figure it out, an arrogant voice sounded. Brat, do you dare to fight to the death with me? Qinfen looked at Mu Jingyi, as if he was looking at an idiot. Are you out of your mind? Why are you so eager to die? Mu Jingyi's face was full of anger. He wasn't out of his mind. He had made this decision after careful consideration. Both sides were in a deadlock. Qinfen refused to give in, and Elder Mu he was determined to get the human cauldron. Therefore, Mu Jingyi immediately stood up and challenged Qinfen. He felt that he was too smart. Mu he secretly looked at Qinfen with admiration. In fact, he had wanted to kill Qinfen for a long time, but he knew that if he challenged Qinfen to the death, Qinfen would be too scared to accept the challenge. In fact, when Mu Jingyi challenged Qinfen, Mu he was also worried. After all, Mu Jingyi had reached the peak stage of the true spirit realm, while Qinfen was only at the early stage of the true spirit realm. Don't tell me you're scared. Are you a man? Do you have the guts? Mu Jingyi obviously realized this as well, and he immediately tried to provoke Qinfen. Qin Shitian's face was full of worry. On the other hand, Qin Huang was calmer, because he had seen Qinfen's strength not long ago. Qinfen killed 3 true spirit realm beast cultivators in a few moves, and one of them was even at the late stage of the true spirit realm. If I start a life and death battle here, I won't be responsible for killing people? Qinfen needed to understand the situation first. Kirio said yes. Good. Then I accept your challenge. Qinfen agreed without hesitation. Mu Jingyi was stunned. He was still racking his brains to think of a way to trick Qinfen into accepting the challenge. He didn't expect Qinfen to accept the challenge. Haha, you little ant, give me your life. When he came back to his senses, Mu Jingyi looked up to the sky and laughed wildly. In his opinion, if it wasn't for Elder Kirio blocking his sword, Qinfen would have already been a corpse on the ground. However, the result would be the same. At most, the ant would be able to catch a few more breaths. When Mu Jingyi waved his sword, a violent wave of true essence rolled up in the dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company. As everyone knew, killing was prohibited within the 80-kilometer city. This sudden surge of killing intent immediately attracted the attention of the cultivators passing by. It's actually a peak true spirit realm expert. This is going to be interesting. The one who attacked seems to be a disciple of the Immortal Gourd sect. But even if he's a disciple of a 6-star sect, he will be severely punished if he dares to attack in the 80-kilometer city. You guys don't know the situation. It's those 2 who initiated the life and death battle. I don't know what the other cultivator is thinking. He's only in the early true spirit realm, but he dares to fight a peak true spirit realm expert. What's the difference between this and seeking death? The crowd was in a heated discussion. Many people were waiting for a good show. But suddenly, a loud explosion sounded in the hall. Before the crowd could see what was going on, a body fell into a pool of blood. It was the peak true spirit realm man. The battle is over? This is too fast. The one who died is a peak true spirit realm senior? What is going on? The other party must have hidden his cultivation. To be able to instantly kill a peak true spirit realm expert, he must be a void god realm expert. The crowd had just gathered and the battle had already ended. There were even many people running over, thinking that there would be a good show to watch. The dominating Heaven Furnace trading firm was filled with the thick smell of blood. The atmosphere was very strange. Mu-He and Kirio's eyes were wide open. They were completely shocked. You killed Mu Jingyi's disciple? And you killed him instantly? Mu-He mumbled to himself. Even he wasn't confident that he could kill Mu-He instantly. When Kirio came back to his senses, he felt a chill run down his spine. He finally realized that Qin Feng had hidden his cultivation. The other party might even have a higher realm than him. Not long ago, he had blocked Qin Feng's path. He was simply seeking death. You dare to fight a life and death battle with such little strength? Is this the style of a Immortal Gourd sect disciple? After killing Mu Jingyi, Qin Feng didn't even bother to look at him. He didn't forget to mock the immortal gourd sect. Muhi was so angry that his nose became crooked. He immediately shouted at Qin Feng. Kid, don't be too arrogant. Let's have a life and death battle. Do you dare? Kirito looked at Muhi in surprise. He did not expect Muhi to have such a thought. Qin Feng was able to kill Mu Jingyi with one move, so he was obviously an empty God Realm cultivator. Moreover, he was most likely a middle void God Realm cultivator. Muhi might die by his hand. However, Muhi didn't stand out because he was angry. He saw that Qin Feng was young, and guessed that he was at most an early-stage hollow god state cultivator. The reason why Qin Feng could kill Mu Jingyi was because Mu Jingyi underestimated him. Qin Feng couldn't wait to kill more immortal gourd sect cultivators. Now that Muhi was asking to die, it was exactly what he wanted. However, before he could fight, a few powerful auras came from afar. Qin Feng was shocked. He couldn't see through them at all. They were at least at the body condensation state. Who dares to kill people in the 80-mile city? An old voice sounded in the sky above the dominating heaven furnace trading firm. Then a bright light appeared. The light was very clear and even a bit dazzling. It was completely different from the light and mist of a hollow god state cultivator. Qin Feng was sure that the other party was at the body condensation state or even higher. He was also a beast cultivator. His aura was different from that of a human cultivator. After this mighty demonic cultivator appeared, a few more figures appeared in the sky. All of them were mighty cultivators whose realms could not be seen through. Not only were there demonic cultivators, but there were also human cultivators and demonic cultivators. There was even a Taoist figure that seemed to exist in the sky. Qin Feng was very familiar with the aura on his body. He was undoubtedly a ghost cultivator. The people who came later didn't say anything. However, a powerful aura surged from their bodies, making it hard for everyone to breathe. Kirio's expression changed. He said in a panic, Protector Haichiji, it's that human cultivator who caused trouble in the dominating heaven furnace trading firm. He killed a peak true spirit cultivator. The light around Haichiji was too dazzling. It was impossible to see his face or his expression. However, the aura around his body skyrocketed, and a true essence whirlpool rushed towards Qin Feng. Suddenly, Qin Feng felt death approaching, and before the attack landed, he immediately shouted, I hope that Protector Haichiji can investigate the truth first, then it won't be too late to act. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.